Welcome to an all-new episode of GVN Sports, the show where we break down our love of football and basketball. In Prime, I am keeping a close eye on that Mets-Braves game. You bet you, sir. I am keeping a close eye on that. Yeah, you're damn right I am. Y'all trying to creep up. I see what's happening. But we have a great show in store for you guys today. But before we jump into our topics, let me start off with introducing the panel, starting off with Didge. What's up, Didge?
What's up? Ready to talk Patriots?
Don't start with that.
I'm ready to talk Patriots.
I'm ready to cry Patriots, if that's a thing. I'm ready to cry it. Look, I'm in the boat. I'm already looking at life preservers. I'm already just like, I see you there.
Season hasn't even started. It's been one preseason game.
That lets you know everything you need to know.
He's ready to go.
I know, right?
I'm already.
We'll talk you off the ledge. We'll talk you off the ledge.
No, Joel's gonna sit there and go, yes, further jump out of that boat. I hope it sinks.
No life. You better swim.
Next up, Brian, what's going on, Brian?
What's good, gentlemen? We're approximately 23 days from kickoff. Hey, man, I'm happy. Let's get this thing, man. Glad to be here today. Got some good stuff popping.
Absolutely. And we are 20-something odd days from me possibly wearing more than one jersey under my Patriots jersey, just in case. Just in case I need a wardrobe change. Like,
we'll talk you off the ledge.
I need Joel to talk me off the ledge. That's how I know it's genuine. I need Joel to tell me everything will be okay.
You don't trust my statement?
No. You saying it is biased because you need New England to not be garbage, right? Because we're fans. Joel wants nothing but the demise of the Patriots. So if he can talk me off the ledge, I'll appreciate it.
This is the downtime.
I'll appreciate it.
You'll be the future Cowboys. You're like, remember when
you don't say things like that. No. You don't put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby. Don't you dare.
That was messed up.
Don't you dare. Yeah, that was messed up. Damn, Joel. Shoot at Prime like that. Prime, I'm sorry.
Nothing personal.
That sounded very personal.
That was definitely
Joel,
personal.
What's going on, Joel?
What's going on? Football is among us, and I'm very excited. Very, very excited, and very, very, also tempered. I'm not very. Oh, my team's gonna bust. No, I'm none of that. I just want to see progress. I swear to God, that's all I need.
It sounded so sad.
I've been through a lot. It's been a bad couple of years.
I just want to see progress.
Now, let me just say this to our fan base out there that's like, damn, Joel, I'm so sorry. I want you guys to know this. Joel is a Yankees fan. The Yankees have enough championships. It washes over the lack of championships from his other two franchises he's a fan of. He's fine. He's fine.
Yeah, listen. 26 championships.
It's 26?
I thought it was 27.
Shit, we're all off.
I don't think it's. I don't know. It's 27.
Let me see.
We're lucky this year. But
I thought for every year baseball had existed at the time, they were winning championships.
Here's
27.
But here's the thing with baseball. Like, I don't, as much as I love the Yankees, I don't love baseball as much as I love basketball or football. So it doesn't hit as hard. You know what I mean? And the fact that, and here, look, we've won so many to the point where that the Mets are playing so well right now, and the Yankees have just fallen off the earth at this point. It's just, I don't care.
10 games ahead in their division.
Yes, but that's
not falling off the earth.
They've been struggling lately, though.
Bro, it's been bad.
They're 10 games ahead of their division.
To be fair to Joel, to be fair to him, he is looking into the future because the Mets will be getting Aaron Judge in the offseason, and then they will fall off the face of the earth. So once that happens, he's just looking ahead. It's okay. Allow him to look ahead.
I don't want to hear someone.
gotta be fair to them. He's telling them, man, they like 2-8 in the last 10 games, man.
Yeah, so I did
They've
see
been
that.
struggling recently, yes, but they don't
want to hear
suck
that
entirely.
As a Brewers fan, who we were in first place and now we're not.
Lord,
so
Jesus.
Yeah. I mean, we were not first anymore.
I have no idea, to be honest. So.
I don't even know.
I think it's still Christian Yelich.
Oof.
The Brewers. I saw somebody in a Brewers hat the other day in Pennsylvania. That's weird.
There you go.
Joe was just like, "Hey, what are you doing here?" But all right, let's start off with football. I want to talk. I want us to kind of go through our initial thoughts on what our team did in week 1 of preseason. Joel, me, you, and Didge will kind of be very much the same because me and Didge are Patriot fans, you being the Giant fans, and we played each other.
Yeah.
I did like a lot of what I saw from our first unit, which was Brian Hoyer, which I don't even like uttering those words out of my mouth. To know that we have 3 quarterbacks, and one that's my future I didn't see. The other one you're like maybe could be competition for my future, and that one struggled, right? He did come into his own late in that game, driving us down with, once again, should have been a fucking game-winning touchdown against the motherfucking Giants. That wasn't. I am just so sick of thinking we put these motherfuckers in the ground and they keep coming back, dude. I'm sick of it. I don't care, Joel. I have PTSD when it comes to that logo on your hat. But I did like how the kid Zappy did play down the stretch. Now, I will say this, Didge, as I pass it to you. The most confusing thing Bill did was that he played most of the starters on defense. And I'm like, albeit, you make a case, yes. Some new faces, young kids, got to see what your defense looks like, right? I'd also make a point that in today's league, defense is a thing of the past. Everyone's dropping 90 points in a game, right? Everyone's dropping a shit ton.
I'd still disagree.
I think a singular player matters on defense, not necessarily the whole. I mean, as far as you looking at it and going, a lot of these games came down to the wire because the defense played so well. You got way more shootouts than you do anything else, right? I'm more curious to see if Mac Jones can keep up with the competition. I would have loved to have seen him in there.
Keep up with the Joneses.
Exactly. And we got Mad Joneses on the team. We got Jonathan Jones, Mac Jones, Marcus Jones, John Jones. Too many damn Joneses, right? We're keeping up with all of them. But
you guys can have Daniel Jones too.
Oh, no, we're good. You can keep
you
him.
hold on to that. You know Dak might need some
right. Dak might
football around with.
He might need a backup.
Yeah, you can go there. You can go there. Y'all don't trust y'all backup. Who's y'all backup?
What?
Who's Dak Prescott's backup?
Man, Dak gonna shoot Cooper. We like Cooper Rush is all right.
Cooper Rush
and Ben Gucci DiNucci.
Damn! At this point, you got
like somebody who was on Nickelodeon. I don't know who that is.
Yeah. At this point, you got Jerry Jones. Just like I might have to come down there and play. Shit, I don't like none of these options. But Didge, what did you see from our first preseason game that you liked, and what is something that you wish maybe we could have seen a little bit more of before it was maybe taken out?
I wish we would have saw our first string offense. That's easy. This game almost, until I realized, like, okay, well, at least they're doing some starters on defense, I almost turned it off because I'm like, I don't care about our second string. I want to see if our first string can do anything, first of all.
Right. And
from the reports that we're getting in practice, it doesn't seem like that should be enough for you to be like, oh, I saw what I need to see.
Right.
So there's that. I guess I did like how Zappy played, but it's also, he's third string. Is he really fighting for the second string job? It doesn't seem like there's really a competition with that.
No.
It just seems like they just wanted to, at least just in case Hoyer gets hurt, or if Mac Jones gets hurt, at least we'll have 2 people who had some reps. Right. I mean, this game was kind of a misnomer because we didn't get any starters to play on offense, and I think that's probably our biggest question mark.
I would agree. Our corners is a very big question.
That fair. And
that is a very big question. Corners. Yes, Joel, our corners is a massive question. 100%.
So we got literally isolated.
No, I get you.
On my corner.
I get you, but I think the thing that has to be looked at closer here is the idea that our head coach is supposed to be a defensive mastermind, right? So it's like, well, you can only be as good as the players on the field. So if they're all garbage, right? And I'm not saying they are. I'm just saying if they're not any good, you look at it and you go, well, that's the one thing you should be good at.
And our corners didn't do well. Tyrod Taylor was lighting them up.
Yes, he was. And you know what was even funnier? When I was playing Madden earlier, playing the preseason game, Daniel Jones got nothing on me. Tyrod Taylor came in against my second unit corners, and man, if that man did not turn into Michael Vick for an entire half. So I was looking at him just like, did your rating go up by the second? Or
man,
like,
I was watching that game like Tyrod Taylor is out here killing it. It was so disrespectful.
It was. And Joel, I got to pass it to you. At any point, did it look like you might have to go to your head coach and go, hey, well, clearly, in case you didn't know, our starter is the backup. like, just in case you didn't know, not Daniel, it'd be Tyrod.
Well, I mean, they didn't have a bad, stretch.
No, not at all.
To not warrant. It's just that we got to see more of Tyrod Taylor, and he looked comfortable. And that's because he's a vet. It's not this is very good been around. That's the thing. He's one of the best backups in the league because 100%. He technically could start on a lot of teams. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Yeah. And that's why we brought him in, just in case. Mainly, I think, for injury, and because Daniel Jones has been known to get hurt. And if we're doing well, we want someone that can maintain. At least maintain. Mm-hmm. But he can probably, at this point, probably even better. But, that's not the point. Is for him to be more of a safety blanket, not literally the next guy up. You know what I mean? That's not the point.
You don't want Daniel Jones to look at him as competition?
No, he should. He should definitely be looking over his shoulder.
But do you think it's a legit competition?
No, I don't. Because in my opinion, they want to get everything they can out of Daniel Jones, so they know for a fact you ain't it. You know what I mean? So they know like it's time to move on. It's time to move on. It's not just throw in Tyrod Taylor. Just we don't need those extra wins, in my opinion. If he sucks, we need to lose. You lose with him. You know what I mean?
Well, that was going to be my question, because I was going to say, if you want to see what you can get out of Daniel, wouldn't one of the best ways to do that for him to feel as though there is a legit competition, to where the season can start to where he is riding the bench, he is holding the clipboard. If he feels as though his job is safe, when I feel like, and you guys can definitely correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like when a quarterback doesn't feel like their job is at jeopardy, there is no sense of urgency. So they could go out there and throw 4 picks and feel like, well, they're not going to take me out, right? So I'm like, whenever you feel that fire on your ass, I like that, because you kind of feel like, well, I got to have perfect practice, or as close as possible, and as close as possible to perfect games.
He has been taken out of the first team at one point in camp for Tyrod Taylor.
Wow.
It was only for a series, but it did happen. And he said, I think they just talked to him, the coach today. It was like, will Tyrod get some first-team reps? And he said, yeah. That doesn't mean that I don't believe in Daniel Jones, and Daniel Jones is our quarterback going forward. Mm-hmm. But Tyrod's going to get some first-team reps. You know what I mean?
You don't want to be in the Bryce Young sweepstakes.
He's just saying, don't get comfortable. You know what I mean?
He's saying I might change my mind.
Yeah. That's fair. Let me know how these first 4 games, and I might tell New England you need to be in the Bryce Young sweepstakes as well. So.
The next preseason game is he plays better. It comes down to that. You know what I mean?
Hey, I tell you what, the first Didge, you know who I was paying close attention to in preseason? The 49ers. Because if homeboy didn't look good, I was looking at maybe New England tanks this year, and we go, hey, 49ers, you wanted Mac last go around, right? Take him. And we're going to go after this young kid, see if we can make this work, right? That's what we're going to go do. See if this can work out over here. But, I mean, I did like a lot from what I saw from the Giants' first 2 series on defense. I did like what I saw there. But, again, I didn't know – remember, Didge, I was telling you I didn't know how to address New England's training camp, because I'm like, you hear that the defense is killing it, right? And you're like, well, is the defense killing it because they're great or because the offense is subpar?
It
right?
sounds like it seems like 50-50 after watching
right.
this first
So
game.
when I was watching the Giants do really good on defense, I'm like, is it because they're looking good, or is it because the quarterback is fucking Brian Hoyer? Like I just was not sure, right? I just was not sure what it was, you know. So I just looked at it and I'm like, I was like you did. I don't really know what to take from this game. I really don't. You had a lot of really good passes when Zappy came in towards the end, right? With that Thornton touchdown. Thornton, to me, I believe is going to be. You know what Thornton reminds me of, Didge? That season we had Brandon Cooks. And what Brandon Cooks did for us was Brandon Cooks would create pass interferences per down because no one could keep up with his speed. So they were grabbing, they were holding. So I'm like, if Tyquan Thornton can be at least just that, let's not even take into account what he could do as an actual wide receiver. If you could be fast enough that people are just like, I can't keep up. Let me grab his pants real quick. like just do that. Brandon Cooks put us in so many beautiful situations because people just couldn't keep up with his speed. So I'm like, I did like how he looked there, but again, that was against like the Giants backups, like the guys that will be joining the Rock in a year, right? So it's like I don't know how to really
think they're going to be XFL bound.
100%. I don't really know how to kind of accommodate the talent that I saw from New England. That's why I'm like, look, if you want to put Zappy out there, I'd rather Zappy start if you're not going to put Mac Jones in. Let Zappy start, right? Let Brian Hoyer just hold the clipboard. Let Zappy play the this entire Panthers preseason game. So we can at least see what the kid has. Because if the kid's good, I'd love for him to be competition for Mac Jones. Because I told you, I love his arm. I really do. I love Zappy's arm a lot. Joel, was there anything else that stood out to you?
For the Giants? Yeah, I mean, we're very light when it comes to our first. That's why I think it is important to see a second team get some reps because people get hurt quick. And, like, we already lost our left guard to a toe injury. We
lost two corners. Two starting corners we lost today.
Yeah.
Same day.
Luckily, we didn't lose any corners because,
to be fair,
it's weak.
Malcolm Butler was technically during the Giants game. He just hasn't played since then.
Right.
He's been being evaluated since then, and they were just like, all right, well, today, never mind.
Now they're like, yeah, you're out for the season. You're out.
Yeah.
It's a waste of my money. You're gone.
We don't have the depth to to fuck around like that. But that's why, we seeing Aaron Robinson get picked on the whole game, that he was out there. I was like, and that's our starting right corner. It's like, oh, damn it. We're going to probably need to bring in a vet or something. Because it's not, I don't even know if that guy's going to start. He's getting lit up. So, all right, so we'll see. I liked a lot of what I saw, but again, it's a lot of it was against backups. And there were short stints for certain players. I like seeing my running backs actually get some runs in. That was cool. A lot of back and forth. But overall, it was a preseason game, so I didn't take anything too seriously. I just want my guys to stay healthy.
Yeah. Look, I'm scared, man. I'm scared. We play the Panthers this Friday. Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. If we come out of that game and those two look like fucking Joe Montana and Steve Young, I'm gonna be very angry with Bill Belichick come Saturday morning. You should maybe retire. There should just be no point in your life where those two look that good, right? I don't care what you put out there.
You think Baker can give them 10 wins? What you mean?
I'm saying that a Bill Belichick defense should not be letting Baker Mayfield do anything. That's what I'm saying. It's more so that.
All right. I'm just saying.
It's more so that.
He was Big Money Baker for you a couple weeks ago. So
again, Didge, you had him at 7. I only said okay, I'm sorry, 6. I only said
make sure
10.
You get it right.
I only said 10, Didge. That's it. You keep making it seem like I would say, it'll be close to undefeated.
He's gonna be MVP, you know that, right?
But Prime, what did you get out of seeing your boys play their preseason game?
Absolutely nothing. Because first of all, they got their butts kicked, but that is what it is. But they didn't play anybody as far as any of the starters. Right. So it looked like the real focus was one on the rookie Tyler Smith, the offensive lineman we drafted, kid out of Tulsa, and the questions with him were mainly because he got a lot of penalties when he was in college. He picked up 2 penalties in this game. But
didn't you have 4,000 flags in that one preseason.
Oh yeah,
game?
yeah, it was bad.
Crazy.
It was bad, bro. But
That game was awful.
you see that during the regular season too, so that ain't nothing new. Like they just continue the Cowboy tradition. I mean,
they rusty, man. They're rusty. It's all.
McCarthy's soft. He ain't doing about it. So, but we really didn't see anything. Like you said, we had Cooper Rush. Of course, is the backup to Dak, and until somebody says otherwise. They had Ben DiNucci back there. They have Will Greer and Camp, but basically, the Cowboys usually only carry 2 quarterbacks on the active roster, right? So we didn't see a whole lot there. I think Cooper Rush was up and down in this game. I was interested to see how the receiving was going to go, though, because you already know they weren't going to play CeeDee Lamb. Gallup still not ready. And of course, we lost James Washington for probably at least 10 weeks. Wow. So, and the Cowboys have elected not to really sign anybody. So they were getting a look at a lot of the young talent, Sammy Faco, or how you pronounce his name. I always mess his name up. They got the Vasher kid they got from the USFL League, he was the bomb in the USFL. He looked pretty good. But the only real thing I got out of it, realistically, was trying to see who was actually going to be that, I would say, the 4th corner. Because with the Cowboys, Anthony Brown and Diggs have the 2 starting slots, on lock. Jordan Lewis will be, the 3rd guy. But when they go into that mixed package, they did play a lot of the young corners they drafted, throughout the last couple of years. And Nashawn Wright probably was the most impressive after game 1. He had the most tackles, had a couple of pass defenses during the game. But they got the Deron kid out there and the couple of other guys out there. But I didn't really get a whole lot from this game, to be honest with you. Nobody really played. It seemed like just, the biggest thing they were focusing on were really the young guys. So we'll see what happens when we get to the next game. And I don't expect the starters to even play that much. Some may not even play a series. I don't know what they're going to do with Zeke, coming off that injury. They say he looks good, but do you play him? Does Dak get a snap or 2? I don't know, but I didn't really get a whole lot out of this game other than the fact that it looks like business as usual, and the business is basically penalties.
The story of this game, I was watching it. It was that Johnson kid on Denver. You could tell
the quarterback at Johnson.
Yeah.
Journeyman.
I was gonna say they said he was on like 16, 17 teams in his career. So he knew I got to come out here and show out because I need to get a lasting roster spot.
He's like that kid. He's going to always be on a roster. If you go back year after year, he is always on someone's roster, whether he makes the team at the beginning of the season or week 3 or 4, somebody signs, and then he always ends up playing for some reason, even if it's just for a game or 2.
Right.
Nice, long NFL career. And he's been just about every city out there.
Yes, after 17.
He played pretty well.
That's crazy.
I think overall, though, I will say overall, even though we gave up to 17, I think overall as a whole, if there was one real positive other than the play of Nashawn Wright was, I think overall the defensive effort was pretty good.
All right. Yeah, I do know for you guys, this is a big year for Diggs, because last year obviously put himself on the map, but this is the year that solidifies him as one of the game's best corners, right?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it now. Because people are always so quick to throw up how many yards he gave up. He got all those interceptions, but then if you look at how many yards he gave up on the season, which is somewhat exaggerated. But
it is a little bit, but he was giving up some yards.
No, he gave up some yards. You go look at some of the other guys that we hold dear, and he's right in line. True. He's just getting magnified because he's a Dallas Cowboy. At the end of the day, though, but I'll say this, and some of my fellow Cowboy fans get upset and get mad, and I don't care. He is not a shutdown corner. He's a big play corner. There's a difference.
I agree.
Big play corners, basically, they'll give up a lot of plays, but they'll make a lot of big plays. Shutdown corner, basically.
I think there's only – I think – and I wouldn't even say now, but I think only 2 players currently playing can even hold the title of shutdown corners. That was Ramsey once upon a time. That was Stephon Gilmore once upon a time. Outside of those 2, I don't really know any other shutdown corner in the NFL.
I'm going to give you one that's close. That's really close, and that's really, really close, and that's Jair Alexander. I
like that you say that because
he's the real deal.
First time I talked to Didge about Jair Alexander, he's overrated. I'm like, he's not, bro. He's not. I don't know.
I watch a lot of Packer games being in Wisconsin. Trust me, I'd call him more big play because from the definition you were giving of big play is they'll give you those. They're gonna give up a lot, but they're gonna also have those instances where it's right. And his play is that to me.
Yeah,
and
I don't.
No, I said he's pretty close.
You didn't say close. You didn't say close.
Yeah,
I like
him, when I look at guys like Jair, I do know there was a point where people would not throw the Ramsey side. I do know there was a point where, and you know this, Prime, personally, where Stephon Gilmore put what's his name that's now with the Browns, the receiver,
Cooper.
Yes, Amari Cooper. He put his ass in a knapsack and put it right in a little cubby and said, "You stay there all game." Right? So I'm like, Stephon Gilmore.
Too, but that's another story.
That is another story. That is fair too, by the way. But I think there was a moment where Gilmore, I mean, the man won Defensive Player of the Year as a corner, right? So I'm like, you could give him that title for a while. You could give Ramsey that title for a while. But I saw Ramsey get ripped up in the Super Bowl.
I'm gonna give you another guy. I'm gonna give you another quick guy, and I always indulge in this because it's my favorite position on the football field is the cornerback position.
Really?
And that's the favorite. Coming up, that was I played both sides of the ball, but I enjoy playing defense more than anything else. The corner. Nice. But watch Xavier Howard too. I'm gonna tell you. I'm in Miami. He doesn't get the respect that he deserves. The dude is the real deal. I would argue with anybody, and I would put him in my top 5 corners in the league. He is that good.
Yeah,
he's that good.
I don't give him respect because he's a Miami Dolphin, but
of course,
even still, there was a long time outside of New England with Gilmore and J.C. Jackson that Miami had the best 2 corners, best tandem corners.
No, you're not wrong.
I don't disagree with that at all, but as much as I love Howard, there is another corner that I am a massive fan of if he could just stay healthy. That is Marcus Peters. Marcus Peters. Oh, yeah. I love his game. I really love his game. Denzel Ward gets touched on because he's in Cleveland.
He's still in Cleveland. I mean,
he's got Hall of Fame stuff.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I don't disagree with that Prime at all. And Didge, I don't disagree with Denzel Ward. I'm a big fan of Denzel Ward, but he plays in Cleveland, where they just keep losing, right? So you just really don't get enough love.
Also, but overrated doesn't mean bad. I gotta stress that before someone goes, "Oh, you said Jair Alexander is bad." No, overrated doesn't mean bad. Overrated means where you rate him. Because I obviously being in Wisconsin, I hear, "Oh, he's the best quarterback in the league." No, he's not. That's why he's overrated. He's not the best quarterback in the league.
I don't think he's the best, but I believe if I'm making a top 5, there's no way he's not on it.
And I would agree. But if you're saying number 1,
I wouldn't give him number 1.
So that makes him overrated. Overrated means you got them higher than where they should be. I'd give him like 4 or 5, maybe 3.
I am curious who has him at number 1 because I would like to sit down and
random Packer fans.
I'm like, he shouldn't be number 1, but there's no way I make a top 5 without him. But Prime, I'm with you. I'm with you, Prime. I not grew up, but when I got older, I focus on corners and safeties. Those are my 2 favorite positions. Because when I play Madden, I love taking my full safety and hovering him like a linebacker. I love it. I love it. It's my favorite thing to do. So I very much keep an eye on the safeties and keep an eye on the corners. So I'm with you there.
Yeah. You guys got to watch the linebackers.
That's my thing.
I love the linebackers. I love the linebackers, but to me, the reason why I focus on corners and safeties is because they use them so differently. Nowadays, you do have linebackers that are built to where you could put them literally anywhere, right? But time tells you that you could do a lot more with corners than you can necessarily any other position on that defense.
A dominant linebacker can shut all of that down before you even have to worry about a corner.
100%. We saw that. We saw Bobby Wagner dominate for almost a decade at the linebacker position. I don't disagree at all. I'm just saying, to me, my favorite is usually either the corner or the full safety. That's where I usually
That's fair.
go right to. Really quickly, Prime. Who do you got? Who do you guys your top safety? I'm going with what's his name out of Arizona? Buda Baker.
Buda Baker.
Yeah, I'm going Buda Baker.
I'm going to ride with you on that. He's not the guy I wish was the top safety, because the guy that I wish was the top safety, the only thing is he can never finish the season. Sometimes he can't start a season.
Who?
And it's very easy to me. And it would be, come on, man, my man's down with the Chargers, man.
Oh, Derwin James.
James.
100%.
And you know I'm gonna ride with him too because I'm a Florida State fan. But yeah. The dude is that guy.
Derwin. Yeah. You know what? Prime?
So,
this is the year for him to prove his dominance, because now you have J.C. Jackson. That's a big play corner, right? That can make things very difficult for a quarterback. That might force the ball to come more Derwin James's way. That leaves you open for big hits, big plays. And don't forget, you now got Khalil Mack on one side, Bosa on the other. So that defense is going to force a lot of the offense straight to the middle. And if he's healthy, this is the year for him to prove that he is the best safety in the NFL. So I don't disagree with you at all. Derwin James, I could do Derwin and Buda could be 1A, 1B. I wouldn't fight it. But all right, I want to give a shout out to Joel. Joel wanted to do a conference breakdown for basketball, but then we were like, we could also do it for football. And he was like, yeah, we could also do that. So division, you're right. I apologize. Division. So I broke it down, right? NFC East, NFC West, AFC East, AFC West, right? Fine. I believe between those four, you have the most wide open and out of almost any other divisions in the NFL. Those four, if someone told you, I'm sorry, you know what? Maybe not the AFC East. That's more biased.
I was going to say AFC
yeah, because if somebody told you the Jets came out of there, you would go, what the fuck happened to the Bills? Like,
yeah, that's
did they move to the proper state and that's how they got knocked out of there? But everything else,
I don't think the NFC East is wide open either, but we'll get to that when we talk to them.
I honestly really do. I really do. I truly do. You know what? Let's start with that. Let's start with the NFC East. Okay, we're going to start with the NFC East. Obviously, we got the Washington Commanders. I'll never get used to saying that. Exactly. We got the Dallas Cowboys. We got the New York Giants and the Philadelphia Eagles. Now, the reason I feel as though, I said that.
He said that was the first thing he said.
Yeah, that's the first thing I said. Yeah.
It didn't even connect.
I get you. But that was my comment. I said I'm not even used to saying that. But the reason why I think this is wide open, and then Joel and Prime, we'll let you guys lead this. It's me and Aisha or the outside looking in. But the reason why I think it's wide open is because I'll go by team, and then I'm going to pass it to you guys. I really think one of the biggest problems the Giants had on offense was just consistency, right? A consistent line, your running back healthy, your receivers healthy, and your quarterback healthy. There were so many times last year, right? And yes, that also very much helps. But there were so many times last year where all of those things I just named were being just thrown like this, like all over the place. You're like, well, we got a healthy starting lineup, right? And then you sneeze and you're like, I'm sorry, how did you just lose half of your offense today? It's like, I don't know what happened. The wind blew, they went with it. Right? Yeah. So I'm like, if they can get a sense of stability, I believe Daniel Jones has shown he can be a starting NFL quarterback. When you look at the games where he has that stability, he can put it on you. I'm not saying Daniel Jones is the next up. He'll be the next big star. I'm saying Daniel Jones, for what the Giants need him to be, I think he can be that successfully. So in my opinion, the question comes down to how consistent can your defense be, right? And again, I think the Giants could possibly win the division. And if you do that, you have a shoo-in.
I must not be the only one on this drink.
I'm just saying. And going down the list, I think this is make or break for Carson Wentz. I think if Carson Wentz can't get it done here, he will forever, for the rest of his life, be a backup, right? And an average one at that. So I think they have to. I think Chase Young coming back, I think that team can make a lot of noise. We've seen them make the playoffs before.
Yeah.
It's not like, well, it's been forever. It was like 2 years ago.
The biggest question mark is Carson Wentz, like you said.
Right. And let's not forget, in that said game that they made the playoffs, if Chase Young doesn't get knocked out, Chase Young was causing Brady fits in that fucking game. I mean fits, right? That was not a blowout like everyone was predicting it would be. That defense was getting to Brady, right? And, of course, you had this young kid that no one really knew much about trying to compete against Brady, and then he got injured. And, obviously the Buccaneers pulled it out. But they were causing the Bucs fits. And I believe that roster has gotten better since then. I'm sorry, what were you going to say, Joel?
No, I said that was Heineke. Was that?
Yes, yeah, Taylor Heineke, right. And then going to the Eagles, they've bolstered that offense so much that this kid now has no excuses to not take the next step.
He has.
Right? I mean, if you can't do it with this receiving core, it's just not meant for you. It's just not.
Yeah, he has a good. I'm down on Jalen Hurts only because we played Jalen Hurts and won barely with the worst offense I've seen. You know what I mean? Like he could, all he did was give us the ball back. That's all he did. It's like, who was he really throwing it to? If he wasn't running, he wasn't doing shit. That's all it was last year with him.
Right.
We'll see how that turns out.
I mean, you got Smith and now you got AJ Brown. You can't ask for a better 1-2 punch.
I mean, damn.
Like you're what, second year as a starter? This is his second year as a starter, right? You can't ask for your organization to give you a better 1-2 punch than that, right?
Yeah.
It's almost unheard of.
Goddard's no joke. Just Goddard's a decent
right.
Too.
100%. So this is the year for them to make noise. So I'm just saying, if they made noise, I wouldn't be shocked at all. And now, the last team before I pass this off to you, Prime, is the Dallas Cowboys. The question is the question that is always the question, and Stephen A. created this narrative. And that narrative is that the Cowboys will always cowboy, right? So it now comes down
Can't
to
go wrong.
will go wrong. So now it comes down to in a division I'll say maybe, I'll give you that may be coming into its own, to where it's not a full-blown laughingstock, right? To where Washington might be able to create some noise in that division. Philly might be able to create some noise in that division. And I swear to God, you just never know with the Giants. They usually take these 10-year intervals, right? So where they're just like, we're nothing, and then Super Bowl. So I'm like, who knows when that might creep back in, right? So I swear to God, the 2 times they won recently, it was the most unprecedented run I've ever seen in my time watching football. I've never seen someone run gauntlets like that. It's just, it's crazy, right? So to me, I'm just saying, this is the year Dallas has to show, look, we're the big brother, right? We're the big brother. You guys will always be beneath us, right? The playoffs is ours for the taking when it comes to winning this division, right? So I'm just saying, now it seems like there's more talent in this division than recent years. So I believe that the feet might be to the fire a little bit. And look, Mike McCarthy should be on thin ice. That should be one of those firings that could come halfway through the season, right? Like that shouldn't be one of those. No, we want to see how he finishes the season. You saw that last year. Don't let it happen again. Don't let it happen again. But Prime, I pass it off to you. Obviously, it'll be a little biased, but do you feel as though there is a legit threat within your division this upcoming season?
It's only 2 teams.
Okay.
It's only 2 teams, and that's not to take away what you said about the Commanders, because I do think that they could possibly make some noise. They won 7 games last year, right? In the midst of everything happening between the injuries and stuff they had in the backfield and on the defensive side of the ball. And that coaching staff still trying to figure it out. So I don't doubt that they could actually be a better team. But it's still, to me, it's still the Cowboys and Philly. Philly legitly on paper seemed to step it up offensively. Nick Sirianni's got some new weapons over there. To put for Hurst to work with. They made some they're getting some people back. They made some strides on defense. I think, a team that won 9 games last year, who says they couldn't win another 2 or 3 games? I mean, that's when you bring in a player like, A.J. Brown. You have a healthy Dallas Goedert, who is a beast, who didn't get talked about enough. Once you get outside of the top 3 or 4 receivers, Goedert can get it, man. Like, he puts it down. But you look at the Cowboys, and look, McCarthy is going to be McCarthy. Whether Jerry would be the type of person to fire him in the middle of the season, I don't know, because Jerry just seems to do what the fan base doesn't want him to do, because he wants so badly to prove that he's right. And the biggest problem I have with them this year, though, and it hurt me because, I don't feed into the hype that everybody gives us every year about this is our year. I'm kind of quiet on the subject. But one thing that kind of bothered me about this team coming to this season is I think back to a few years ago. I don't know if any of you guys watched, even cared to watch, because none of you are Cowboy fans. But the special that they had on Tony Romo on NFL Network.
Oh, right? I did watch that.
All right. Jerry Jones makes a comment about Tony Romo where he says that his biggest regret was not giving Tony Romo everything that he needed, right, to win a Super Bowl. He admits that, and I fully agree. Much as grief as Romo got, some of it was warranted, a lot of it wasn't, right? So you get into Jerry Jones. There's a couple of years where he goes sign a few players here and there. He makes some noise. He signs a name that he figures is a big name and makes some noise. This year he decided not to, but he actually had a little bit more money and flexibility spilled in people, to spend this season and reworking some things than people thought. He elected to do nothing. And to this point, he's elected to do nothing with the receiver situation, right?
Right.
So
and
I don't
Deshaun
know.
Jackson's out there just sitting, right?
Yeah,
and that's a great guy to have.
There's some people out there that can help him, even if it's just in the short term. Mm-hmm. Dak might surprise a lot of people and work with what he has. He hasn't proven to me he can work with it when he's got the weapons, but that's a whole nother story. But I don't know. But I still think they'll be good. I think they'll have those weeks you'll laugh at them because McCarthy's going to make a dumb call or allow the special teams coordinator to call a fake punt on like 4th and 18 or something. Where they don't have to do it. It's going to get them in trouble. But I truly think, but I think they'll be okay. I actually think Zeke bounces back. I mean, this could be his last year in Dallas, right? Mm-hmm. Call out of heat last year. The coaching staff seems to recognize what I recognize, is that the fact is, I'm going to give the man props for powering through what he went through last year, versus just shooting him down, because it wasn't all his fault either. Offensive line had issues. That, you know what I'm saying? No, he's at the same type of runner, Tony Pollard. But the thing about Zeke that you can't replace is which has helped make Dak as good as he is the dude is one of the best, if not the best running back when at least comes to recognizing and picking up the blitz, right? He's very good at that. He's kept Dak off his back plenty of times, and he did it even last year as the team went 12-5. I think Zeke bounces back. We might not see what we saw the first couple of seasons, but I don't think 12 or 1,300 yards is really out of the question even with Pollard back there, because they've already stated that Pollard's going to be used in the passing game too. So I won't be surprised if they line up in the slot to make up for the receiver situation, things of that nature. But I think it's a 2-team race. I still think it's going to come down to the Cowboys and Philly, and it's funny because Dallas plays Philadelphia the next to the last game of the season. They go through this about the whole division, I think, like in the last 6 weeks. But the next game of the season on Christmas Eve, they played the Eagles. That game is going to mean something.
You know what? To me, that's one thing I would love for the NFL to try to do a lot more for a lot of teams, to where they end the season on their division.
They do now.
I love that. I love that, because there's nothing better than watching a team that's trying to secure a specific spot play against, in the last game of the season, play against a team that does not give a fuck. Right? Yeah. They are horrible, and they're just like, you know what? Nothing would make me happier than to watch you not get what you want. Right?
Yeah, if they want to be kings, of that division, you look at the schedule. You got the Giants on Thanksgiving, right?
That's gonna be a fun one.
Yeah. 2 weeks after that, they go to the Eagles on Christmas Eve. right? Well, the Eagles come to Dallas on Christmas Eve, and then they ended off with the Commanders. So it's going to be real interesting, man. It's just going to be real interesting. But I still think it's going to be a 2-team race. But I do think that every team, even the Giants, with 4 wins, what you guys win 4 games last year, 4 wins.
Like
I don't feel like 6 or 7 wins for the Giants is out of the question.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking 6 or 7. I'm not going higher than that. If they do higher,
it's all about injuries, man.
So now, you know what? From now on, whenever someone says 6 or 7, the term for it is the Baker. Okay, so whenever you say, "Yeah, I think they could get the Baker," we know that means around 6 or 7. That's Digits average for Baker. Yeah, I think they could do the Baker this year. It's like the Baker, yeah.
If the Baker's doesn't, it's double that.
But it's funny that you were mentioning schedule, Prime, as I pass it to you, Joel, is because me, Joel, and Didge went through the Giants' schedule. Was it last week? I think it was last week. And we were looking at it, and we were saying, it's not the strongest of schedules. Like, it's very catered to where it could be one of those shockers where you're looking at it and you're like, oh, a lot more games than I thought.
No, but me and Joel both ended saying about 6 or 7, and you were.
I'm gonna get it. Giants winning 7 games, man. I'm gonna say
you were the one who were highballing it.
That's still more positive than I am right now. I'm being honest. Like, I don't know what I'm gonna get. I have a lot of question marks on this team.
Their first 5 weeks are tough. The Giants.
It's one of those things where, like, if we can.
It's not how you start; it's how you finish. Don't worry about the first.
Yeah, but those first 5 weeks, first 6 weeks are rough because I didn't even see the Ravens were week 6.
Okay, ignore them.
You always pull out one of those crazy games, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I mean, they should win week 2. That's the Panthers.
Who knows? Maybe by what they play Ravens week 6, right?
Yeah.
Maybe by that time, Lamar goes, you know what? I want my money. Fuck y'all.
The Giants always are that team. It's like one of those teams that pull out something crazy. Like, you might not be watching the game, sitting there watching the red zone or something. Oh, we're going to shift you here to the 4th quarter. Remember, the Giants were down by 10. Now they're inside the 5-yard line, but the chance
to lose it.
Yeah. No, Prime. I've heard those two I've heard that announcement specifically for 2 Super Bowls.
Yes.
So yeah, they are 100% the team that could go. Wait a minute, hold on, what? The Bucs are down 12. What the hell happened? Who knows, man?
We had that game.
I don't know what to tell you. But Joel, as I pass it to you, how do you see the NFC East playing out? And what do you think the biggest surprise could be? Do you think it's maybe the Giants upsetting? You think that would be the biggest
that would be a huge surprise. If the Giants actually turn out
the surprise of the league.
Yeah,
I believe there's just as many questions offensively for you as I believe there is for Washington.
No, I don't. I think honestly, the only question is the quarterback, and at least we know Wentz at one point was decent. Jones is trying to prove that he can stay decent. He's had moments of positivity, and I didn't hate what I saw during the game the other day, but that was nothing. I need to see it from him consistently, and that's the only thing I'm worried about, because I don't think he's bad. I just don't know if he's good. You know what I mean?
I just don't think it's been enough time yet.
Yeah, it's just a lot to start, and then offensively, like, I like our receiving core, especially if healthy. Tight end that's very open. Like, we're relying on our rookie a lot. He's gonna a lot on his shoulders. Our offensive line, it's gonna take a while for them to gel. Honestly, I mean, they didn't look great the other day. Look, we have really good high end tackles and decent inside guys, but it's gonna take a while to gel, and they gotta stay healthy. Again, we just lost our left guard. I think he'll be back, but I'm saying, like, it takes a while for their offensive line to gel. And they're like, most of these, there's like 4 new guys. You know what I mean? You need the gel. It's gonna take a little bit. And defensively, you saw what happened against fucking your backup. So that's all I gotta say.
No, I mean, I see where you're coming from. I'm just saying, I watch Wentz have everything a quarterback in his position could ask for last year, and he fumbled the fuck out of that. So I'm like, this team, I don't look at as good or as greatly built as the Colts were last year. And you fumbled it. You had the best running back in the NFL, right? You had one of the best defenses in the NFL, and you just said nope.
And a good line.
Wait, say it again, Joel.
And a good line.
Yes.
line.
If not arguably the best
One of the-
offensive line
yeah.
in the NFL, right? And somewhere Andrew Luck is going, what? Like, you waited till I retired to do this? I could have used all of these things. But I definitely look at it and I'm like, he found a way to mess that up. This is a team that's nowhere near that situation. So I'm like, if he can mess up a good thing, he for damn sure could fuck up a bad thing, right? or a moderately good thing. So that's why I'm saying I do have questions there for what he's able to do consistently. I wouldn't be shocked if Taylor Heineke finished the season. Would not be shocked at all.
I wouldn't be. I wouldn't.
Barring injuries, I would be.
Really?
I'm not that shocked.
I think the Colts would have replaced them if they had a feasible backup. Like if they had a guy they could look at and go, you could maybe do something. Like maybe not turn it over 1,000 times.
Let me see how much that Carson Wentz deal was before I.
However much it costs, Ron Rivera very much seems like a guy that's like, I don't pay you, so, so you can go ahead and ride that bench. It ain't coming out of my pocket. You can go ahead and sit
22 mil, 28 mil this year, 28 mil cap hit. I'd be shocked.
Here's the funny thing. Let me ask you a quick funny question, Didge, before I pass it to you for your NFC East thoughts. What was he making last year?
21.
They traded him. They shifted it. They said, "Get the fuck out of here." So clearly, franchises
Eagles
look at it like
that though. That last year.
That is fair. That is fair.
He's gonna end up playing for Philly at the end of the year.
Yo, if it came full circle and he took him to a Super Bowl, oh man, that'd be serendipity. That would be serendipity. I can't stop laughing. That shit's hilarious. I'm sorry. But Didge, how do you look at this NFC East? Would the Giants taking that division be the biggest shock coming out of that division?
Yeah, I think that'd be the biggest shock in the NFL. Because I think there's just no way that the Jaguars win anything. So otherwise, they would usurp it.
Damn.
There's no way the Jaguars are winning that division.
No, they're not. But were you classifying the Giants and the Jaguars in the same pond?
No, I think everything else. I think the Jaguars. That's just the only thing off the top of my head you could think that would usurp it. Like if all the other teams winning their divisions like are pretty much kind of similar levels. Like if the Bears win in the North, the Giants win the
Bears
East.
would be shocking.
All of those are like similarly shocking, but the Jaguars winning is just like next level.
Seahawks. That'd be shocking.
Seahawks. Okay, fair. Seahawks, yeah, them too.
That division.
That division, yeah. If they win that division, somebody sold. They sold.
No, hey, stop, Juwan. Stop. It ain't happening, bro. Come on.
Oh man! Wow. Nah, I'm just remembering what that Seahawks roster is.
Yeah,
I'm just like, that'd be a surprise for sure.
That's also Jaguars level.
Like,
if they win that division, someone sold their soul.
Yeah.
Texans.
Yeah, and it's just as sad because as bad as we're making them sound, Jacksonville and Seattle, I believe, are only great quarterback play away from completely changing.
Hey, y'all laughing. We sitting here talking about this. And near the end of the season, that Drew Lock being in running for the MVP. Yeah,
I'd stop talking football. I'd never talk on this. I'd never talk on this show again.
Yeah, I'd be done.
Once he gets past Geno Smith,
top 5 quarterback.
Bro, if I turn on my TV and Skip and Shannon are debating whether or not Drew Lock is top 5. I'll have known the world is very much ending. Like it's right there.
That's the next sign.
Yeah, that's the moment. Like when you watch the horror movie where you close the door and something's behind you and just jumps out. That's the moment. Once he gets nominated for that top 5, it's like closing that door and then the thing grabs you. That's what that is. Yeah, if that happens, shit, we're laughing at the Giants. Drew Lock, top 5 quarterbacks.
Yeah.
You might have fucked up the whole NFL saying that, did You might have messed. And we definitely spent a full week saying everything Warner Brothers wouldn't do, and the very next day they said, "Well,
Yeah, they did all of it.
we heard you, and we thought those were perfect ideas." So it's like, who knows? Drew Lock might have heard that and now gained all the confidence he needs now to become a top 5 quarterback.
You got to win a job first, but yeah,
exactly.
Well, he did. The news came out today that he was getting first reps. He was getting first reps, so we'll see. We'll definitely see. But I'm sorry, Ditch. Go ahead. Your NFC East breakdown.
I think it's the Cowboys to lose. I honestly do. I
don't
have
lose. That sounds right.
I think they have the steadiest quarterback play in the division, and in a division like this, that's going to go a long way. I know a lot of people aren't also talking about the Anthony Barr pickup. He just passed his physical, I think, while we were talking.
Forgot about that.
So he's pretty much going to be off the PUP list in the next couple of days, and I think that's a larger pickup than most people are realizing.
Yeah. He was good.
Obviously, wide receiver, that's a shaky position, and the line is probably shaky too, losing Lyle Collins, but I think they're still in the best shape out of any team in this division, especially because the Eagles still have Jalen Hurts as their quarterback. So I just see it as theirs to lose. Now, will it shock me if the Eagles win it? No, because like we said before, Cowboys can Cowboys it up, especially with Mike McCarthy as their coach. So there is that.
Get me Sean Payton.
I honestly, when they had the opening, I thought they were going to somehow pull that off. So I was shocked that they didn't. When they said that they had Mike McCarthy coming in, I was like, wow, what happened?
It's like, damn, y'all settled, huh?
Right. But I do think it's still, like I said, I do think it's theirs to lose.
Okay.
I can't believe I'm saying this either.
Hey, look, I think as sports fans, I think the media has made it cool to be disgusted by Dallas, right? I say that. And then on the other hand, I have met and seen, and Prime, you're not part of this, but I do know a lot of Cowboy fans, and they are the worst. They are the worst of the worst. They are almost as bad as LeBron James fans, right? Not teams. LeBron James fans. Cowboys are right there, right? Cowboys fans. They make it really easy to go, I get it. I get why people are just like, you losing is very entertaining to me. I get it. I do. I see the fans and I'm like, I get it. I do. I just get it. I understand. But, Prime, I am always of the mindset that teams that just have not won in forever, it's just really cool to see it kind of flip itself, right? Any team but the Giants. It's just really cool to see them flip it, right?
No,
to where it's like,
fair.
You've been losing forever, now you're on top, right? And it's not just a one time. It's like now you're back. Joel, you won 2 times, too close together. That's it.
You won like 5 in the last 20 years.
Yes,
you ripped our heart out twice in like 4 year in a 4-year span.
Yes,
I'm good.
Nobody.
You guys can go 0-16 for the next decade, and I'd be like, all right, well,
100%.
that sucks.
Yeah, for sure.
That's not. That doesn't feel right to me.
It feels 100% correct. What are you talking about? What? Come on, that feels perfect.
Well, it'll be crazy because what was the last time? I don't think anybody's won the NFC East back-to-back since like 2004.
No, you guys did last year.
No, we didn't. We won it. We won it last year.
But I thought you guys. I thought you guys were the first to do it.
No, the year before they didn't do it. Remember, Dak was out.
Yeah, remember
Yeah. Somebody won it for the first time.
No, nobody's won the NFC East since 2004.
Because remember, we just said Washington won it 2 years ago.
I could have sworn somebody did it recently. Yeah, you're right.
And remember, that was the year when Washington won. The Eagles fucked the Giants over by essentially quitting. By quitting.
They just
remember that. That's right.
Asshole.
I do remember that now.
The Eagles
took out their starter.
The Eagles channeled me and you. They were just like, no success for Giants. No success for Giants.
Then they jumped us in the draft to pick up the...
Maybe this isn't theirs to lose then. Wait a minute. Wait a minute now. Hold up. I could have sworn they won it 2 years ago.
Didge has been sitting here like, damn, Dallas hasn't won it every year since the 90s? What?
I could have sworn they won it the last. I forgot Dak was out.
Dak got hurt.
I forgot about it.
I mean, the defense still sucked like that year, so I don't still, but I mean, Dak got hurt. Yeah.
We were watching a lot of Andy Dalton that year. Is what was happening.
I do remember all of that. Yes.
We were. That was
very
unfortunate.
the water pistol,
Prime, you had me feeling bad watching y'all season go down. I'm just like, oh no. Oh God, no.
Collapse.
I remember one game Andy Dalton looked like he was gonna do something, and then it just never materialized again.
Yeah, then he turned back into Andy Dalton. Like he's like, oh, I'm Andy Dalton, not Aaron Rodgers. I forgot
who I was for a second.
I confused myself. I'm sorry.
I'll play.
Shit, Prime, you had me at certain points that year, just like, well, maybe Cooper Rush ain't that bad. Who's behind Dalton? Like, who's behind Dalton? Can we?
No, in Dalton's defense, though, to a little bit would have made. Unless he was gonna win some shootouts, he was gonna lose anyway. He just.
For sure, but I would have.
Their defense was historically bad.
It was like, I'm going to be honest with you. When Dak went down, watching Andy be quarterback was like watching a professional football player fist fight a 90-year-old. Like, it was just sad. Like, it was just like, oh, no.
This was a rough year for that division, though. I'm going back to look at that standing.
Yeah, that was the ugliest, one of the ugliest things in the world.
Did.
Washington won it with a 7-9 record?
Did. No, but what you're not understanding is that division that year was so bad. Again, the Eagles quitting is why the Giants didn't make it. That's how close it was.
I do remember this now because I remember going into like the last couple of weeks of the year, the Eagles technically were still in the race and they had like 4 wins. And I'm just like, this doesn't make sense.
But I will say, Joel, you remember the true moment that screwed the Giants out of making the playoffs that year. It was when Evan Ingram dropped that pass against the Eagles. That third down right in his arms, dropped it. That was what sealed it.
And now he's in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
I remember that.
Full circle.
I remember Joel just, what the fuck? Why can't you hold the ball? Like, what is your problem?
He's open.
And I remember saying to Joel, like, I think Evan Ingram's a really good tight end. And Joel's like, I'm just waiting for it. I'm waiting for it. Like, can I see it? Like, where is it? But yeah, so that was one of the biggest moments. And then obviously the Eagles sitting out that game is like what really put it over.
It was a game for like maybe a quarter, and then like they said that they benched his quarterback. I'm like, oh fuck you guys.
I love how the head coach was just like, quitting. We don't quit. And the reporter was just like, but you took all your starters out. And he was just like, oh, that? Oh no, we just
we're resting them for the playoffs.
Yeah, we're preparing them for next year. That was all. That was it. It's like, you lying motherfucker. You sat them to take the Giants.
Anything I've ever seen.
Now it's all coming back to me because I remember him. I do. It wasn't even their backup. It was a third stringer.
They were making sure.
Like I do remember that now because I was watching that game. Now it's coming back to me.
Yeah,
I remember that. You gotta make a 30 for 30 off that one game.
You need a 30 for 30 on that game.
All I want is for it to pan over to Daniel Jones for him to go, and I took that personally. That's all I need, and that will be perfect. That's all I need. But all right, let's move on to let's stick in the NFC. Let's finish out the NFC. Let's move to the NFC West, where we have the Cardinals, Rams, 49ers, and the Seahawks. Right?
Now we're talking. That's at least 3 teams that are decent.
But again, according to Didge, Drew Lock will sell his soul, and that will make it 4 reputable teams in that division. So, no, but honestly, I think Seattle will become a team that starts stripping itself for parts. I think DK Metcalf will get traded. I think a lot of really desirable pieces on that team will get traded. Jamal Adams will get traded. Cowboys should definitely look at that trade. That'd be great. To have Diggs on one side and Jamal Adams in the middle.
Nah, they can keep Jamal Adams, bro.
Really? You don't want Jamal Adams?
He's overrated, bro. He ain't that good. Yeah, I said it.
Okay. I mean, look, I don't watch enough of Jamal Adams. He was a Jet, so I just assumed he was trash.
You sure they ain't watching last year?
Last year was a rough year.
Y'all must have watched him.
You know when I did watch him, Prime? When he was stopping Cam Newton from scoring that touchdown week 1. No, I'm sorry, week 2.
Thomas,
That's
he
when
ain't
I
been
watched
no
him.
more in about a year or two.
Last year was a rough year for him.
That's fair. You could make a case last year was a very rough year for the Seattle.
But that 2020 season, he was still
hasn't been good.
he was still doing really well 2020. And then last year, you are right. He did take a step back. I just assumed it was a rough year.
I mean, the only reason why I personally can't agree with overrated is because for me personally, I don't know where I ever rated him. I just thought he was a really good safety.
I mean,
that was
I don't know if he's overrated, but he's not.
He was overrated.
He's not worth me spending a bunch of money right now. He's not that guy for me.
I think who's your safety now? Barr? Is it Anthony Barr or somebody like who's
Anthony Barr's a linebacker.
Oh, he is a linebacker.
Yeah, that's kind of to be determined. But we signed back. Shoot, I was drawing a blank. Played with Atlanta. Not Kazee, not Omar.
Huh? You got Hooker. I got
well, Hooker's still there, but I thought he was going to take the starting job last year, and he actually, well, he was coming off an injury, but he played a lot. I can see him now. Not Omar Casey. They let him in.
Jaron Kearse?
Curse, yeah. Jaron Curse. Remember they brought Jaron Curse in, and they were thinking about last year, one point using him as some sort of like a weak side linebacker at some point. And then they ended up snagging the safety job, and he balled out last year. He was
still in Detroit. Jesus.
He's like, wait a minute, what?
Okay, so we got, like I said, Arizona, Seattle, Rams in
San Fran and LA.
San Fran. Thank you. That's who I was forgetting. Mm-hmm. So, Didge, I'll start off with you. What would be the biggest surprise coming out of this division heading into the season?
We all said it.
Barring the obvious, San Fran winning the division would be the next biggest, because you can feasibly say that Arizona and LA, they both have a shot. Right. Do you really have trust in Trey Lance to give them that division? You know, and I watched that Packer and 49ers game on Friday for a little bit. He didn't seem anything, and granted it was first preseason game, it doesn't really mean too much, but it didn't seem like it was a market step up from Jimmy G.
Well, to me, you don't need to be. If you could be just Jimmy G, that motherfucker got you to a Super Bowl and NFC championship.
No, but that was more so
better than him. You just gotta be him.
I feel like that was everybody else. I feel like he game managed it. You kind of want you.
Hey,
more than a game manager.
He still got you.
No,
he did still get you.
I'm going to be honest with you. No, because if you're telling me that when a player is healthy, I get either a Super Bowl or a potential berth in the Super Bowl, yeah, I'm taking that. Yeah, a game manager, whatever. I don't care. If my quarterback retires and people don't even put him in the top 3,000 of quarterbacks all time, but I went to a Super Bowl and won it, I don't care. Like, that's fine. Trey Lance can get me there and we win it. I don't care.
I mean, he only played. To be fair, he only played one series and he got him a touchdown, so he did what he needed to do. Mm-hmm. I think he might have played 2. I know he only threw like 5 passes.
Right, but I know he had a couple good-looking passes.
Yeah, none of it. It wasn't enough to be like, oh, this is such a step up. So it's not. Right. I don't even mean it in like a way of like, oh, he played bad, because I think he went like 4 or 5 or something like that. It was just you didn't see enough of anything to say, oh, this is a step up.
Yeah, I mean, I don't necessarily disagree. I think the biggest shock for me would be Cardinals winning it, right? Because you look at the Rams and they're trying their hardest. Yeah, let me break down why. Because you're looking at the Rams and you're looking at them essentially try their best to build the Avengers, right? They're trying their best to go, who's the greatest in Asgard, who's the greatest, right, in the multiverse. Let's just assemble everybody, right? So you look at that and you go, the Cardinals still have the struggle of Kyler Murray. I think what we keep forgetting is that he had an MVP-like season and then just dropped and carried that drop right into the playoffs, right?
Not really.
I was gonna say,
yeah, he did.
No, he was playing well at first, early in the season. He started to drop off, and you got to remember he got hurt too,
right?
And he's been pretty consistent of not being hurt until this past year. He was actually playing well early in the season.
100%, where he was being looked at as the clear-cut MVP, and then he didn't, and then he had that injury, and then did not play well in that playoff game. And he honestly looked like, if there's no Hopkins, he lost all of his superpowers, right? So to me, you've now bolstered. You lost the piece, a very crucial piece, in Captain Kirk, but you added in Hollywood Brown, right? So you now have speed to go alongside, obviously, when Hopkins gets back from suspension.
AJ
right?
Green there too.
AJ Green, I'm never really sure what he is. He's better than most people's options at wide receiver. But yeah, today I'm not really sure what he is.
Not a bad third option, I guess.
Not at all. Not at all. But that one play was glaring, where Kyler threw the backside fade for the touchdown, and Green was just completely just, oh, you're throwing to me? It's like, bitch, yes. Like, what do you think your job is? Like,
yeah, that was I don't even know what to make of that.
I didn't know how to explain. I was watching it live and was just like, he knew he was in the rotation, right? Like, you didn't think there's a possibility the ball could come your way? When the ball hiked, he just went up sideline. Wait, no, like, where are you going? Like, come back. So I think I look at this division the same way a lot of people look at the AFC East, right? So where you go, it's clear cut the Bills, right? It's clear cut, and there's miles before you get to whoever your second or third is, right? I look at the Rams have set themselves up to being that juggernaut, right? You obviously lost what's his name? He went to the Titans, who got injured halfway through the season, the receiver for the Rams. I can't remember his name.
He was on the other not Cooks.
On the Titans?
No. He was on the Rams and got traded.
To the Titans?
Yeah.
Woods,
yes. Robert Woods.
I forgot.
But you replaced Robert Woods with the freaking standout Allen Robinson. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, you got better in some instances, and a lot of people believe the Rams could still be a favorite to having Odell when he gets back, right? So you're now adding in Odell that you don't even necessarily need if Cooper Kupp and Allen Robinson can stay healthy, right? Those are your two premier guys, right? And then Odell is essentially just your smokescreen to a degree, I guess, right? You don't really know what he's going to be when he first gets back, but if he's great or anything really like he was in the stint when he first joined the Rams, if he's anything like that, you're great with that being your three-headed monster, right? So I'm saying the reason why the Cardinals would be the biggest shock for me is because this should be the Rams by miles. So the Cardinals would have to really come in and usurp that to win that division. I think it would be more so them having to do all the things right rather than the Rams necessarily having to do all the things wrong. You know what I'm saying? And speaking of your love of linebackers, Didge, adding in Bobby Wagner, regardless of what he may or may not have left, he might not even need to be all that.
Yeah, but you needed that because you lost Von Miller. That's a downgrade, to be honest.
Really?
Von Miller to Bobby Wagner?
I don't see that as a downgrade.
Really?
I'd have to see what Von Miller get, because again, I think what we maybe overcompensate for Von Miller last year is it's really easy to do what Von Miller did when 8 people are trying to stop Aaron Donald.
But there were some of you people trying to stop them, and then there were the other 3. Hell, there's probably 7.
You got to remember, there was a 3-headed monster on that front 5. There was a 3-headed monster on that front 5. On that front line, I'm sorry. On that front line.
Also, you're acting like this was like Von Miller's like, oh, he broke out this year. Like, Von Miller was still Von Miller.
Sure, but I'm saying I would like to see what Von Miller looks like this year in Buffalo, where he's going to be
he's going to look like he did in Denver.
You got to worry about that.
I hope so. I mean, well, no, I don't hope so.
What are we talking about?
I don't hope so.
He's going to look like... I was terrified when I saw that he signed with the Bills. You know how upset I was?
Really. Yeah, I wasn't really.
I don't know why.
Because I remember there was one day...
Y'all got to deal with that.
I remember there was one day where J.J. Watt was legit the shit, and then he just became a piece of a puzzle rather than the puzzle itself. And now in Carolina, he just adds it. No.
But the
I'm
thing is,
saying
as good as that
I don't
defense
know how
over
much
there, it
longer
wouldn't
that
matter if it
continues.
did.
But with JJ,
But that's my point, Prime. That's my point. I think a lot of it was perfumed by how tremendously, transcendently dominant Aaron Donald is. It
can't
took a
say
lot
that.
of the help and put
I
the
don't know
Oh
if
no,
I
he
can
looked right
say-
good in the playoffs.
I was gonna say,
I don't know.
I don't know if I can say that.
And I think that's easy.
I think,
easy.
like, are we? This is still Von Miller. Von Miller hasn't had a drop off with JJ Watt. His was he kept getting injured. So of course, as your body keeps getting injuries, you're not going to be able to always bounce back to where you were.
True.
Von Miller hasn't had that. Von Miller just continuously dominated. Then he got traded to the Rams because it didn't look like Denver was going anywhere.
I just don't see the drop off from Von Miller to Bobby Wagner being a downgrade.
It depends on what you're looking at. Like if you're talking about raising hell in the quarterback, Von Miller, you're gonna miss Von Miller. If you're talking about somebody that's gonna be all over the field, making tackles occasionally, maybe come at the quarterback, well then you're gonna love Bobby Wagner. They're not really the same type of player.
I think we do have to remember, not all that long ago, Aaron Donald almost single-handedly took that defense to the Super Bowl, right? So it's like you lose Von Miller, he's still breathing over there on the right side.
But I'm saying
So
strictly as a linebacker to linebacker.
Let me tell you what that can get you in trouble though.
Okay, go ahead, Brian. Go ahead.
It could get you in trouble depending on who you're playing in the playoffs. So better yet, a Super Bowl. And what I mean is, you're playing a quarterback that can move.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Let's just say, I put it this way: if I'm playing Buffalo in the Super Bowl, I ain't gonna lie to you. I much rather have Von Miller than Bobby Wagner.
Easily.
I don't know.
Easily, man.
I don't know.
I
don't know.
Look, you got a quarterback that can move like him.
So you guys are saying Wagner is washed?
No, I love Bobby Wagner.
But you're also losing an edge.
You're
You're also losing an edge rusher.
Bobby
Bobby Wagner is an inside, so he's not your edge.
Right.
So you're losing a major edge rusher.
Yeah, no, but I'm speaking to the point Prime just made. Bobby Wagner can still keep a quarterback honest.
Not like Von Miller can.
Yeah.
But he's not an edge rusher. That's a difference, though. Bobby
But
Wagner,
but
he can stay. But he can follow my running back. He can follow my tight end. Like Wagner can do a lot more things.
Von Miller can do both of those things, though.
I'm not happy. You're telling me you trust Von Miller going after your running back?
You're probably not going to need him to with him getting to the
He's
quarterback.
On the outside, I'm okay with it.
No, but I'm saying that's Bobby Wagner. That's Bobby Wagner's strength. His strength is the middle of the field.
I love that dude. I love Bobby Wagner. But what I'm saying is, depending on who I'm playing, and they get down those playoffs, or maybe the Super Bowl, if I'm facing a quarterback that can move like that, I'd much rather have Von Miller.
I'm not arguing that Von Miller is an amazing piece to have, in those crucial situations. I'm saying you guys are making it sound like I just told you lost Von Miller, but now you got Clay Matthews. That's a fucking drop off. I don't think Bobby Wagner is a drop off.
If we're talking rate of play, how their careers is going, and you're saying someone took a step back, it is Bobby Wagner, not Von Miller. Bobby Wagner is not playing like the Bobby Wagner of old recently.
But how much of that is Seattle? Is what I'm trying to say. How much of that is just Seattle?
But we just talk. We still talk about how a dominant defensive player is still going to be a dominant defensive player, and he wasn't that. He hasn't been that the past like 2 or 3 years in Seattle.
That's fair, but I'm just saying what Bobby Wagner can do, I think will be a tremendous positive to this team.
It could very well be a positive.
It'll be a massive.
But I think it's going to be less of a positive.
Let's make no mistake about it, though, with Von Miller. Now, of course, only time he'll chase around and probably not tackle, Josh Allen is in practice, right? But you look at your road to the Super Bowl, right? Patrick Mahomes can move. There's no secret why Buffalo went and got him.
Oh, for sure.
Joe Burrow. We don't think Joe Burrow can move.
Mm-hmm.
These are the reasons they went out and got a guy like that. They need somebody to come after probably their two biggest threats in the conference is going back to the Super Bowl. Going to the Super Bowl.
Right.
I love Bobby Wagner, but ain't no way I'm taking Bobby Wagner with Von Miller.
at all. No,
I don't necessarily.
Not in the
disagree with
days
that.
NFL.
My argument was just I don't think it's a drop off. That's all I was saying, because they just do two different things as the positions that they're set up for. Right? If you're Von Miller, you look at him and you just go, "Hey, attack that quarterback."
And you know what?
You look at
Depending on
Wagner,
what happened,
you use him in more pass coverage situations.
and
Really, in
depending
run
on-
stop, really than
and
anything.
depending on what's going to happen, not saying they're going to be a Super Bowl contender, but I'm just saying. I mean, Deshaun Watson can move. I mean, I'm just saying they know what they were doing.
For sure. And if you're Buffalo, your biggest issue was going down towards the playoffs. You just really seemed like you couldn't pressure quarterbacks, right? Like it just seemed like Patrick Mahomes got a first down in 7 seconds. That's telling me that your defense was not putting all that much pressure, right? Like he felt comfortable. Here you go, 7 seconds, get it right down there, field goal. Let's take this shit over to overtime. So I'm just saying, I understand that was more of a desperation move for sure. And it'll show if it was an overpay. I get what you guys are saying. Coming off of the season Vaughn just had, not an overpay. It's usually how those things end once you kick into that first year.
Sometimes it's about he gets more pressures now than sacks, but he's still darn good.
100%.
And you're acting like he didn't go to another great defense. So it's not like if you're saying, oh, the great defense was the one that
statistically, yes, they did have a great defense.
I was gonna say we just talked
my
about
my eye test for a lot of those Buffalo Bill games was like
they were the number one ranked defense in a lot of categories last year.
Yeah,
but you know this better than anybody else on here because you're a Patriot fans. Those numbers lie almost every time. When New England gets it, there's a reason why New England will have it in the regular season, and then come postseason, it seems like that was a whole year ago. Because it just depends on the talent. And most of the times, a lot of their talent that they had to play was from their division, and the division wasn't all that great, right? So it's like a lot of your interceptions and your fumbles and your sacks and your QB rushes and hurries might come from just your divisional games. Not even having to worry about anything else, nonetheless. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm saying those numbers could be skewed. In a lot of those Bill games, they started with the Steelers. They played the Jaguar. Like, there were a lot of soft games the Bills had. And in those games, they massacred that talent, right? So in those games, you go, maybe a lot of those stats came from playing Ben Roethlisberger, we had 9 interceptions, right? Like, maybe it came there, and then the Jacksonville game. No, they lost the Jacksonville game. I'm sorry. Don't count that one. I think the Tennessee game is the one that they lost. So I'm saying those numbers could be skewed, is what I'm saying. They don't tell the full truth, is all I'm saying. So you guys all agree that it's the Rams' division to lose.
I'll just say this real quick.
Go ahead.
I think the Rams should win it by all accounts, but I still think I don't think it's as big as you were saying. You got to remember, as far as between the gap between them and the Cardinals, depending on health on both sides. You got to remember, Cardinals, even without I don't remember if Murray missed 2 games or 3, whatever. They still won 11 games last year, only one less than the Rams, right? So, it just depends on how healthy they can say. Now, I'm not going to really bet on them because you got to think about they have a running back in Connor who's a touchdown machine, but he's also an injury machine. They did bring in Darrell Williams, who, when he was with the Chiefs, he found the end zone. I mean, that's what you get inside that red zone. He found the end zone.
Don't forget, Hopkins is suspended, and when he's not suspended, that groin is seeming like it's a pretty big issue.
Yeah, that's an
big issue for him.
So Hollywood Brown's probably really going to really have.
He drops a lot too. Yeah. You got to keep an eye on Hollywood Brown.
They're just going to have to get that deep ball going because if nothing else, I think I mentioned before. Kyler Murray throws one of the prettiest deep balls. True. To be that small, man, I'm like, how does he hum the ball like that? Like that lob and that
kind
deep
of fear.
Ball. So we have to see a lot of that.
Wasn't he going to be a pitcher?
Yeah, he was like Patty Mahomes.
He can throw that. He can throw
Patty
that.
Mahomes and Russell. Yeah,
but nah, it's the Rams. I just don't think it's as bigger. It's a bigger margin as you're thinking.
I just think the Rams, because that was last year was Stafford's first year with them.
Yeah,
right?
I watched Stafford's injury too, though.
Oh yeah, for sure. But that was Stafford's first year with the Rams last year, right?
Yeah.
I think you've gotten better in your receiving core. with the possibility of getting even better with however Odell comes back.
We can Cam Akers thing to be huge.
For sure. So I just think that team is just going to be better, right? Just better. Another year together. If everybody's healthy, better. But my bigger question is, was this Cooper Kupp's one of those Super Saiyan years and I can't ever return to that? Or is this more par for the course? Is this Cooper Kupp for the longevity? That's what I'm very curious to see. If
he
Cooper
was good
Kupp
before
can
this
continue
year.
to
He just had a
no, for sure. But he
just had one of those super monster shit that he may never duplicate. But
yeah, no, I'm not
being,
holding him to that standard. I
but
just
as
mean,
far
can
as
he
being like
elevate himself
legit,
again?
Catch machine, getting that. Oh no, he's been doing that for a couple of years now.
Yeah, because now I'm definitely putting my top corner on you everywhere. Like everywhere. Yeah, ain't no moving into the slot thinking you about to get my slot corner. Follow his ass. All right, so I think we can kind of move out of the NFC West. Let's go into the AFC East. We're clearly the team by a large margin is New England. Didge agrees. But Joel, I'll start with you. Non-bias, right? Because obviously in your heart you believe New England is the best, right? So put that to the side.
Got it.
What is the biggest shock coming out of the AFC East?
What is the biggest what?
What would be the biggest shock coming out of the AFC East?
Well, the way the Jets are going, seeing the Jets win it would be a shocker, honestly.
I appreciate you saying that. I love you for that because
there's
a lot of sports pundits that are like New England's worse than the Jets, and it's like, I'm sorry, what? Like,
I mean, huh? Jets are, again, they're a team that has a lot of question marks. Zach Wilson just got hurt. I don't know when the fuck he's coming back.
Apparently, they're saying it's not going to be long term.
Yeah, they're saying like 2 to 4 weeks or something like that.
They were saying they're because a lot of reporters were asking questions of, well, do you now go after Jimmy Garoppolo as like your safety net? And they were saying
it was ACL.
Yeah, they were saying no. The reason we got scared is, remember, that's how Julian got knocked out that year we went to the Super Bowl against the Eagles in preseason. That same exact kind of play. But they're saying no, they have all the faith in the world in Joe Flacco as their backup if he's needed. So they're under the impression that it won't be a longevity thing. So I'm very happy because I did not want to see that kid go down like that. Not after the year he had last year. To rebound it with out for the whole year.
I mean, especially first game of the preseason, you're like, poor kid.
Right.
But they have a lot of nice young pieces. But then I think they're very young. And then I know this guy's out for the season. They're, oh my God, Becton. So that sucks. They brought in, I think, Dwayne Brown. I think that's who they were going to replace him. So we'll see. But I think there's still a lot of growing for that team. A lot of question marks that still need to be answered. For me to see them win it would be like, wow. Fuck. I mean, it started with the draft, but they're on their way. But I don't know. I don't know if I trust Zach Wilson 100%. We'll see. I did like their draft. I do look forward to seeing how that plays out. But they were probably the biggest question. But the Patriots are always kind of like they're like roaches. So I don't really worry about them as much.
Thank you.
Dolphins.
I don't know if I like being compared to a roach though.
I don't mind it. They don't die. They're always here.
If an A-bomb can't kill you, what can?
I appreciate that. I like it.
Miami Dolphins. They did a very interesting team. Miami's a very interesting team. I very look forward to seeing how that plays out too. Obviously, the Bills are the class of the division, but we'll see. We'll see. So to me, the shocker would be the Jets.
Okay. Didge, you agree? Jets would be the biggest shock?
Jets is definitely the shock. It's as much as the pundits love to say, like, oh, it's New England, they're the worst. I still think it's the Jets. The Jets are going to Jets.
I know the narrative is like, oh, like all you guys did is get Devontae Parker. And what I would like to remind people
he's a good receiver.
Is that without a number one receiver, we made the playoffs last year. So now you're telling me that I have a number one receiver, and you believe that will result in less wins? That I don't understand. Now, if you're trying to equate maybe the defense gets worse, I can't necessarily argue that till I actually see the starting fucking defense play, right? Because apparently in practice, Barmore is by far the standout so far, right? He's taken a massive step forward. So I'm like, that gives me a lot of hope because you got him up the middle, you got Judon on the edge. I love that. So for me, I am very curious to see.
So what's your base defense?
Like what we playing?
Yeah.
3-4.
3-4 is your
3-4
base?
defense. Yeah. 3-4
Yeah.
is our base.
Unless Bill wants to switch it up for some reason.
fucking
And that's
knows?
why I was gonna say who knows? I'll tell you week 1 if our base defense is still
because he came out and was like, hey, in that Giants game, this guy was calling some plays, that guy was calling some plays, the fan up there, right there, that guy, he was calling some plays. It's like, Bill, that's not a good formula. Like I get you. You want to be the mastermind, but like even Lex Luthor sometimes outsmarted himself, right? And I'm like, I feel like you're playing into that, Bill. Just stop trying to be an asshole. But you know what Bill's really doing, right? He's trying not to officially give the job to somebody because in the back of his head, he's like, I remember the last time Josh McDaniels thought he could leave me. Like his ass came right back. So he's gonna fuck it up in Oakland or Vegas. I'm sorry, and bring his ass right on back. So let me leave this open. So when he ready to come home, it's wide open. But yeah, the media does try to make it seem like New England is going to have this massive drop off, but they've been saying that for over a decade, and it just seems like Joel said, we're like roaches. We come right back. We're just like, hey, you're like, yo, didn't we step on you? Didn't Brady retire? Didn't Mac Jones come? How are you not bad? And it's like, well, are we ever really? Truly? Like even with Cam Newton, you could make an argument. We were some COVID games away from even possibly making the playoffs that year, right? So it's like it's never truly out of the mix. We're always in that mix somehow.
True, you're not wrong.
So I mean, I get it. Josh Allen is clearly that guy, right? He's clearly looking to make a MVP type season and lead his team to the Super Bowl. I don't know, man. There's just something about seeing Bill get thoroughly embarrassed last year that warms my heart in the idea that there's just no conceivable way that's gonna happen to Kim, right? Like there's just no way, right? I have to believe that, right? And we've just seen history of it. We've seen history of Sanchez come and go, Brett Favre come and go, Pennington come and go. Like we've seen the AFC East get very competitive and then just come right back home. Come right back home to where it belongs. So I am very curious to see how New England. Go ahead, Joel.
I said that's when you had your vampire.
I was gonna say that's
a very fair point. I will also make two arguments against that. Is that in the 2 years, right? Let's take just 2 years that we've seen no Brady. One resulted in 11-5 in the weirdest fucking football year in the history of football. 11-5 did not get you access to the playoffs. Anomaly, right? And then you go last year, you made the playoffs, right? So I'm like, it seems as though it's.
I like how you skipped the Cam Newton year.
Well, again, because I don't like to make the excuses, but we did believe, Didge, that without COVID, he was charting this way.
He was charting up
pre-COVID.
He
charted very much down, right? And because players are saying COVID does take a pretty big toll on their bodies, right? Like it's not a quick snapback. And we were looking for him to get right back to where he was, and he just couldn't get back there. So I don't like to make that excuse, so that's why I skip it, because I don't know what goes into a player getting COVID and trying to respond to it. So It's not like he was healthy all year and we just didn't make the playoffs, because then it's like, well, I have to count that, right?
Nice.
So for me, I just look at it and I'm like, I don't know, man. And again, Didge, we've seen this numerous years. Remember, we had a horrible secondary. Bill Belichick pulled Aqib Talib out of his ass. We had a terrible secondary. He pulled Stephon Gilmore out of his ass, right? Yeah. Malcolm Butler came into his own. We got J.C. Jackson, undrafted free agent, came into his own. So it just always seems like when our defense is fucking done, right? And we're like, Bill, retire. Your defense is ass. He pulls a Jim right out of all that dookie that we see on the field. And then we go, oh, well, that fucking turned into a defensive player of the year, right? So I'm like, I have to imagine there's something on the horizon I just have to believe that because I've seen it. Revis even.
No, that's
right?
fair. It's
so
a
I'm
fair
like, he
statement.
flips these defenses into where they become at least respectable enough to not be why you lose games. And that's why I'm saying I don't think this season's going to go anywhere near how a lot of these pundits believe it will. Even if the Bills do win the division, I don't think New England will become the laughing stock that they make it sound like New England's going to become. And that's where I take issue with. You know what I'm saying?
Makes sense.
But Prime, how do you look at this AFC East? It's the Bills by a mile. Like how do you look at it? Is there any threat to the Bills?
No, I think should be easily the Bills. Now that being said, I'm still anxious to see what really happens, with Miami. The Tua situation, it's going to be crazy because he may be playing for his job possibly. There's a couple of quarterbacks out there that everybody's looking at.
Maybe.
They're giving him the weapons. I think him and Waddle made great strides last year. Wow. You bring in a Tyreek Hill, got a stable of running backs. I think they could vastly, but then they could really go, way up, or actually they could go way down. Battling you guys really for that second spot. I will say with the Jets though, and a lot of people think I'm crazy, and I agree with Joel about a lot of the growth that they need. It's real young. I'm still not ruling out that, they make a 2-game lead, maybe. You know what I'm saying? I think they've got some pretty positive pieces on it. They brought in a couple of veterans to step in at a point where they needed them, just like with the Dwayne Brown situation. The Brees kid that they got, the young kid they got, I like him at running back. Was it Brees or whatever? I really like him at running back. If they can just block for him. They got steady vets as far as the receivers are concerned. I don't think a 2-game leap is out of the question. Them going in a positive direction. But yeah, the Bills, man. Look, the Bills. You bring in you draft a young running back in James Cook. Dalvin Cook's little brother. They're gonna definitely use him in the pass again. Because if you look realistically, that's really what they were looking to do last year. A lot of the times we would see, and a lot of teams figured it out. But a lot of times they were looking to see Josh step out. He just take off and run because somebody had already picked up the running back. But James Cook is a running back that knows how to run routes. They use him like that at Georgia a lot, when he was throwing the ball. And I think he's going to be a big help for them. So, yeah, man, I think it's Buffalo this year, at least by – what they won it last year, by 1 game. I think they win it by at least 2 games, the division this year. And like I say, the second spot is up for grabs between you guys and Miami.
I will say for the Jets, they're following the formula that worked for them 10 years ago, which is an elite corner, a solid to almost elite defense, and a quarterback that just does not lose you games till he loses you games like a butt fumble. But I believe Zach Wilson is immensely better than Mark Sanchez.
Easily.
And Sauce, as your corner, I believe they're charting in the right direction. And they won't be looked at as the 4th best team for long, right?
I say this too.
Very much shift.
And you added with that receiving core I was talking about, which is better. And I like to pick up with them the tight end too. That I forgot they had gotten C.J. Uzomah from Cincinnati.
Yes,
underrated.
That's steady. That's steady. So yeah, that's another reason I'm optimistic about them being better.
Absolutely. And I do believe this league is filled with underrated tight ends because if you allow sports media to tell you, there's only 2 tight ends in the NFL. It's Kittle and Kels. Outside of that, nobody else is living and breathing. Like, we just fuck Darren Waller, right? Like, he just doesn't exist. We just gonna forget about that guy, right? Like, he is out there, a monster, but, whatever. Gronk missed like 5 games last year and still almost had 1,000 yards, but, whatever. But yeah, I agree with you guys. I think we are starting to become somewhat loaded with great tight end talent in the NFL. They just kind of need a little bit more press, right? A little bit more.
I would love to see an NFL. I would say this. I would love to see an NFL, believe it or not, when the Jets are like really good again. I don't know about you. I'm old enough to remember it when they were okay.
Did you just say you don't know about us? If we were okay.
I'm just saying.
I was about to say you don't know about us if we want the Jets to be good. Hell no, we don't want the Jets to be
we
good.
hear it all the time. Like sometimes with baseball teams, and definitely in college football, like certain things seem right. I just think I would like to see the Jets just be a good football team. I
I'm more
need them
that
to be
way.
on TV more. I want more snow games. You know what I'm saying? I need that in my life.
I'm honestly more that way. No, I'm more that way. I get what he's saying. I am, even though I hate to say it, I am that way with the Giants. I do like to see when they were, those years when the Giants defense were so stalwarts and good. I get it. I do get it. But it's going to be the same thing. You probably don't want to see the Giants good because they're in your division. I don't want to see the Jets good because they're in my division.
Yeah, my soul.
It's just something about the game.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. Seeing those. Because you get those defensive, like you said, snow games. Because those are the games I love to see the Packers play in. Those frozen tundra games.
Again, you can get those in Foxborough. Let's relax. It's okay.
It's something is different about certain frozen tundras. Like,
well, close your eyes.
I don't know. I definitely feel that way with
They're just telling you what I'm saying. I mean, yeah, we can get that in Foxborough, but when it comes to like watching a snow game. Y'all low on the list, man. Like
something is
other stadiums and other fields look better in the snow.
Like even
we only hung banners in those snow tundra stadiums that you're.
We ain't talking about banners. We talking about snow.
And I'm saying we get through that snow, we shovel the competition out of here, and put those banners up.
Because
so
number one on the list is seeing a Packer game in the snow. So something is special about seeing Lambeau.
Know what? If I'm going to be honest with you, I'd much rather see a snow game up in Canada, Buffalo, than I would seeing it in MetLife. I would much rather see.
That's because you're thinking about you're too close to the city. You're thinking about.
I'd rather see.
I'm sorry. Wait, Didge, do you not think I'm close to MetLife?
That's what I'm saying. You're too close. That's what I'm saying. You're too close to it. You're thinking about the headache.
The Bears got y'all beat when it comes to snow game.
That's another one. Yeah, a Soldier Field snow game.
I don't disagree. I also believe their fans are much more fun when it's snow games for Buffalo. Not Buffalo for the Bears. Sorry.
That's because the Midwest fans, all they do is they just go out and drink. I'll be right along with them.
It's cold.
I'll be right along with them.
He'd be right there with them. Hey, you a fan too? No,
I'm just here to drink and watch football.
I'm here to drink. Yeah, I'm here to drink. I don't really like you guys, but I'm here to drink. All right, so let's move out of the AFC East. Let's go to our last team here for our divisional breakdown, and that is the AFC West. We know the teams. We know it's the Raiders, it's the Chargers, it's the Chiefs. And who am I missing?
Broncos.
Chargers, Chiefs, Raiders, Broncos. Oh, that's right. I forgot. That's right. Shout out to Russell Wilson. Okay, so I'm yes, and Sierra. Denver just got way hotter, right? Which is crazy because Sierra is the type to take your breath away in a place that already takes your breath away, right? She's dangerous out there. She's a weapon, okay? She can kill people, okay? She's dangerous. But I'm going to go ahead and jump out on a leap and say my biggest shock would be if the Kansas City Chiefs win that division. That, to me, would be the biggest shock. You losing Tyreek Hill is massive. When you're now, Didge, you just mentioned 2 segments ago about a drop-off. Could I invite you into me giving up Tyreek Hill and bringing in Juju Smith-Schuster? Does that interest you in a drop-off? Because that's a massive fucking drop-off, okay? Do you agree there?
It's kind of a drop-off.
Kind of a drop-off. Come on, Didge. You know good and damn well that's a drop-off. I went from somebody that's piecing out into the end zone to now I got to worry about TikToks getting your ass beat because you want a TikTok dance on somebody's middle of their field, right? I ain't have to worry about that with Tyreek Hill, okay? He was going to get his ass beat for all the other different reasons, right? Just taunting. That was it. The peace sign into the end zone. But at least that resulted in a touchdown.
Fair.
I can make an argument. Juju Smith-Schuster last year in in Pittsburgh, was not their best receiver, Didge. I can make that argument. Homeboy that celebrated and fucked them up winning that game in overtime. I can make an argument was a better receiver for Pittsburgh last year.
It's a different. Yeah, look who's a quarterback.
Yeah.
Well, sure. I mean, you saying Patrick Mahomes can make anybody good is not a compliment to Juju Smith-Schuster. That's just another compliment to Patrick. Tyreek Hill went both ways. I believe he made Tyreek better and Tyreek made him better because it was a safety blanket. You could just throw it 50 yards and he would go down there and catch it. Right?
100%.
The first preseason game.
100%.
Sure didn't seem no way in the first preseason game. Patrick Mahomes went out there like it was mid-season, and he was out there
Flinging.
Same old.
So wait, so then let me ask you. So it wouldn't be a shock to you if they made the playoffs over the Raiders and the Chargers?
No,
They don't make the playoffs.
Wow. I'm sorry, no, not make the playoffs. I'm sorry, win the division. That's what I meant.
Any team in this division that wins the division, it sounds about right. That's it.
Really?
This division sounds like hell.
It really does.
It sounds like fun.
Yeah, if you're on the outside looking in, imagine being a fan. You're like, this is hell.
Yeah, right.
No, because to me, I think that's probably the only division that I can look at that I could go each team. And again, Patrick Mahomes is all the star power you need, but each team has bolstered their roster, right? Tremendously, some of them, in a way to where I'm just like, yeah, everybody's ready for everybody, right? There's not one team I look at and I go, they're not ready. Everybody's
That's why
ready.
It sounds like hell.
So even
They're
as
gonna
a
beat
fan,
each
I'm
other
like,
up.
but to me, I am a big fan of when my division is that tough and I win it, right? Because I know there is no.
You're not used to it at all, dude.
No, I'm not. Of course not. No. But to me, I think that's a lot more enjoyable because I could at least say, well, if you're talking about the best teams in the AFC, 4 of them are in one division, right? You can make that argument that 4 of them are in one division. So if I can get out of this division, I should be peachy keen for whatever meets me on the outside of my division, right?
Mm-hmm.
So to me, I think that's a great launching point to go, you know what? If you can get past this gauntlet, pretty fucking good. But I just view Kansas City more so as a shocker because I believe out of all the teams that has made a drastic leap forward, they're the only team that has not been able to bring in those big name pieces that say the Chargers did.
They don't believe they
Raiders
have to,
did,
though.
because they have Patrick Mahomes.
And they got
which
Andy
is
Reid.
fair. Okay, which is fair.
And innovation.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say this. With a division that was nowhere near as loaded as it is now, Patrick struggled. Still got you to the playoffs and almost to the Super Bowl. That's a whole nother animal once he gets there, right? We won't argue that. Once he gets there, it's like, well, see you in the Super Bowl, right? But throughout the season, he struggled big time. And I'm like, you're now talking about having to play these teams each twice.
He struggled early.
So I'm like,
I wouldn't even say throughout the season.
And you remember all that? Has the league figured Patrick Mahomes out?
It was like the first 5
and then all
games.
of a sudden he goes a couple of weeks and starts burning everybody.
Right.
I'm just saying, for a moment, the Giants almost beat the Chiefs. I just want to put that out there. We're not gonna act like those struggles were struggles.
Right.
They were struggles. Well, Buffalo's biggest issue came from not having what's his name? Tre'Davious White. Not having Tre'Davious White, it really left too many people to be picked on in that secondary. Poyer was not it when it came to stopping Travis Kelce. And your corners, just there was nobody that can keep up with Tyreek Hill. Nobody. Just fucking nobody.
White wasn't going to do it either. Not on the short route.
No, not on a short route, but
you don't need, but
no, but Tre'Davious White does what Bill was always saying is the best thing to do against Tyreek Hill. You just got to be physical at the line of scrimmage, right? Where you get him to second guess it before he's able to just launch past you. And Tre'Davious White is physical enough to be able to do that. Whoever their other corners were did not possess that.
I think they would just put him in motion, running behind the line, do the same thing.
Oh, yeah. Once you move him around, then yeah, by all means. I don't disagree there. But as far as
all that was going to happen was once that Tre'Davious White hits him and makes him think, and it's like, all right, well, let's switch that up.
Let's move him around. Yeah, that's fair. But then that's when I go, all right, well, hey, follow his ass. Don't let him out of your sight. Follow. All right, so Prime, so I'll pass it to you. So what would be your biggest shock coming out of this division?
Oh, it's the Broncos. The Broncos winning it. Look, the Chiefs, man, look, we know that they're going to have a week or two or so sometime that they probably will struggle. and then we'll hear the same thing again. Oh, there it is. Tyreek's gone. This, that, and the third, or whatever. And then they'll figure it out enough. They'll win the playoffs, and I still have
like
them.
60 on somebody.
They'll go to the playoffs, and I still have them winning the division. I know they didn't bring in a Tyreek Hill, but you got to remember a couple of things with the Juju Smith-Schuster thing, right? One, look who was throwing him the football at that time in his career, towards the end of his career. And two, they stopped using him in the slot. Juju had his most effective season when he spent 75% of his snaps in the slot.
But why was he able to spend his time in the slot? Because you had a safety blanket in Antonio Brown. But when you lose that, you now have to become the outside threat.
Yeah, they didn't. But that team didn't have an Andy Reid calling the offense either. They didn't have them. They're going to make they run just as much emotion and different sets as anybody. He's going to spend a lot of his time in that slot. And I know.
Let me just say this really quickly. The biggest reason why I felt as though it was a drop off is when you came into Kansas City games. Tyreek Hill was one of your biggest worries because of what Diggs just said, is the ability to move him any and everywhere, and that speed being like, you know what I'm saying? Unquestioned and unmatched. But now without it, it's more so just like, I just have to put maybe my best corner on Juju and just follow.
Well, no question. No question. And that's probably, we've seen Tyreek Hill be the reason they won a game or two. Like, they pull it out. But no, you can go back. But I've seen several games I watch where Kansas City, they may have been struggling or may or may not have been struggling, and we'll go into the fourth quarter, and Tyreek Hill's had 3 catches the whole game. Right. So my point is, granted, you still got Travis Kelce, right? And you've got some serviceable pieces. Now, you're not as explosive, but you've got some serviceable pieces. I think the type of offense, people talk about, oh, wow, you picked up Valdez Scantling. Okay, what did he do in Green Bay? Well, we all know that Aaron Rodgers really wasn't going to throw but to one person, right? At least with Valdez Scantling, you got a guy that too. You know what I'm saying? You got a guy that can run a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And I think he fits well into that Kansas City offense. What you're not talking about is the real reason. One of the real reasons I think that they will struggle in some weeks. It's not just Hill. Somebody else went home.
Oh,
Tyrann Mathieu. So, Tyrann Mathieu went home. He's back in New Orleans. So that's something to watch. But I think they'll be fine. The Raiders will be okay. We saw with. Huh?
I don't know how much of that I take. Yes, losing him is huge. Let me not downplay that at all. Yeah. But in a lot of those early Patrick Mahomes years where they were dominant, they didn't necessarily have the best secondary. It was just Patrick Mahomes could win a shootout.
When he was there, for the most part, he balled out.
He was dominant.
And people seem to forget why they've had a couple of very good pass rushes. They weren't never really a top tier defense. And they were able still to make the AFC Championship games and the Super Bowls with a couple of good pass rushes, but they were never really top tier. They had some nice, Breland had a good year with them. Matthew played well, but I still put my trust in it. They've revamped some of the special teams, which I think part of that reason is the special team staff is part of the reason is because they know losing a player like Tyreek Hill, there might be a game or two we're going to have to win this thing on special teams. Let's just see what we can do here. So I think that, it might cost them a game or two. They'll be fine. The Raiders, the Raiders are the Raiders. They showed you what they could be about. Now they've added one of the top receivers in the league.
And one of the top pass rushers.
Yep. And the Chargers. The only thing keeping the Chargers from really, really, really possibly winning this division is what we've been talking about this whole show with other teams. Injuries. Mike Williams has been hurt, been dinged up the last couple of years. Keenan Allen can be one of the best in the league, but you always, every time is he getting up? Austin Eckler, every other week, nicked up. I do like that they went and got a guy I really like in Isaiah Spiller to come behind him, but they made enough upgrades supposedly on defense. But then again, my guy Derwin James has to stay on the field. Right.
I did say, Prime, keep an eye out for on offense, Jalen Guyton. I was telling Dijon Joel, I think Jalen Guyton will have a breakout year this year. I think
if there's a team, if you look man for man, if you look at it, they're probably the team that week after week will have the top 2 in injuries. Like every time you look, you're wondering, Eckler's hopping off the field. Somebody, but I think Herbert is just that good. I really think he is just that good. So the Broncos would be the real surprise for me, only because of one, what they have to deal with, and two, there's still some questions on that offensive line with them. Even I love their secondary on defense, but that offensive line, I think could be a little better. And they got, you got Melvin Gordon back there. You got Javonte Williams, who I think in the right offense could be a superstar in this league. I think Williams could be just that good. But it's just some questions. So out of all of those, them winning the division, I'll even say them finishing second in this division would be the biggest surprise to me.
The Chargers?
No. The Broncos.
Oh, the Broncos. Gotcha.
Not that I think that they're going to be bad. It's just sometimes it's the luck of the draw.
I mean, this is a big year for Russell Wilson because you had a lot of people. It was split for him last year. A lot of people were like, "Hey, maybe he's not, maybe he's not the Russ that we remember." And then a lot of people were going, "No, maybe Pete Carroll's not putting him in the best situations to win. They won't let Russ cook, right?" So this is the year you got weapons offensively. You got weapons. You really do, right? And this Broncos organization, because it is partially run by a former quarterback, one of the greatest, right? There's no way he's not going to let you take control offensively if need be, right? So you'll have all the cooking you need out there. But now the question then comes, can you get it done, right? And like you were saying, its toughest task is just getting out of that division. It's not just making the playoffs. You got to get out of that division.
They won 7 games. They won 7 games last year with the team that they had. Now, I expect them to improve on that. I mean, I would not be surprised if we're sitting here. I'm looking at 4 teams that legitimately have a chance to win. We know a couple of them are. At least one of them will win 10 games, right? We could be sitting here at the end of the season and legitimately be looking at possibility of 3 teams sitting there with 10 wins, and not in first place. I'm telling you right now. You look at the Chiefs last year. The Chiefs won 12. The Broncos were at the end of the spectrum with 7. I'm telling you, this could be one of those years that we're looking at something crazy, and it could come out of this division. Whereas we legitimately have a team that ends up like 10-7, threatening to be 11-5, and don't get in.
Yep.
I mean,
this division it's must see. I was thinking about not buying the NFL package this year, and now I'm just like, well, shit, just for them, I have to, right? Like, I need to see them. I need to see what this division looks like, right? Because it has so many different freaking meanings for how this division looks. For my team, right? If my team's going to be any good, I have to play one of them motherfuckers.
Yeah.
Tell me what division week after week is going to have, week after week is going to have the better, division match. Like, this is all of these are must-see TV.
For sure.
Really
I would say
any of these games or any of these guys playing each other this year is must-see television.
I would say the only biggest competition as far as I personally definitely want to see as many games as possible is the NFC West. Obviously, taking out the Seahawks, those 3 teams, seeing what they're able to do, especially if Lance can live up to what they're hoping he can live up to be. Be very interesting to see what comes out of that. I can't lie. Be very interested. And I threw an interception in the end zone. All right. Joe. I shouldn't have threw it. It was a stupid mess. But Joel, how do you see this AFC West? Like, what's the biggest shock to you coming out of it?
I don't know. Shock? Shit. I don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if any of them won, honestly. It's just one of those divisions where they're the strongest division in the league. I mean, I guess maybe the Broncos. Those got Russell Wilson. I'm like, it gives you a chance, right? It was shocking, but they give you a chance. They have decent weapons. But if you compare them to the rest of the team in the division, I guess they're probably weaker. But I can't hate on them either. If they were to win it, I go, well, so Wilson can make shit happen. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I guess they would be the shock, but again, it wouldn't be a big shock, not like the other ones we were talking about.
Right.
It would be like, oh shit, didn't expect that, but I see it.
It's not a world breaking. Like what they won the division?
Right. It's not that serious, but I'm excited. It's gonna be a good division. It's gonna be, like you said, it's gonna be must see TV, and it's gonna be very much like I can't even tell you who's gonna take it. That's more of a shot. Like who wins it will be okay. No, they're the cream of the crop.
Right.
Maybe it is fucking Justin Herbert and the Chargers. We'll see.
That's what my money's on. Old pretty hair taking it out of the AFC.
Man, they stay healthy. They can play with anybody in the league for real.
I like Austin Eckler, bro. I'm a big fan of Eckler.
I am a massive Keenan Allen fan, as Didge knows.
Yeah, he has to stay healthy.
Big Jalen Guyton fan, and
hey, you know why it's hard? You know why it's hard to not like Austin Eckler, man?
Why?
Because like we see all these people all the time talking about they don't give a damn about your fantasy team.
Mm-hmm.
This is a dude last year that literally an hour before playoffs went to social media to let all his fans know, fantasy football fans, playing that he wasn't playing that day.
I can't tell him.
I love that guy, man.
I love that.
I think that's hilarious because we know that shit would never happen in New England. Like you said, what? Yeah, all right, go home. It's like, oh, for the day? No, we're cutting you. It's like, wait, what? Yeah.
Get me out of your lineups, guys.
You do appreciate guys that look out for you like that. Like, man, you didn't have to. Thank you, man.
Thank you, guys.
Trying to win this week
today. I'm not playing.
Yeah, I appreciate you. Let's go to a fan question.
I appreciate you.
Who's top 3 NBA players for you
this
right
is
now?
a whole different sport. Oh,
It is.
That's a whole different mentality and shit.
But
Right.
to be fair, I wanted to slowly start to wrap this up. I didn't want to keep this much longer. This can progress it. So this is fine. This is fine for where I was heading to end this out anyway. Prime, I'll start off with you. Who's your top 3 NBA players right now?
Currently,
top 3 in the league right now.
Mm-hmm.
Well, top 3 in the league right now. I am going to go with Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
I'm definitely going with Giannis.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? This is easy because I don't care about that right now anyway. So I'm just gonna go with Giannis, Steph, and I'm still sticking with King James. That's what I'm saying. Look, I understand. I know somebody gonna throw KD in there, and but he's in New Jersey, so I refuse. So I'm gonna stick with them 3.
Okay, so you said LeBron, Giannis, and Curry.
Yep.
Okay, I'm going Giannis, Curry, and RJ Barrett. No, I'm going Giannis, Curry. Right. You know what? Fuck it. I'm staying with it. RJ, Giannis, and Curry. No.
prove us right, baby.
I'm going Giannis. I'm going Giannis, Curry, and Luka Doncic. Those are my top 3. Those are my.
Can't argue with that.
Didge, we already know who 1 is, so I'll make this hard for you. Who's your top 2?
He's like, the Nazis.
I'm sorry. No. I worded that wrong. Who's your bottom 3? Who's your bottom 2? Not your top 2. Your bottom 2.
I do got LeBron in my top 3. Obviously, like you said, we already know Giannis is there. Mm-hmm. And I still think KD, when he's playing, is still the top 3 player in the league.
Yeah. I mean, my mouth will never say it, but yeah, I won't argue it. I'll never say
it. It's reasons.
It's so hard.
Yeah, I mean, I hate him. Did I need to say that? No,
that's fair.
Okay, all right. And you know what's so funny?
I ain't gonna say I hate him, but I would kind of like him a little bit better if he was somewhere else. Let's just say that.
Same.
I don't even think that would make me feel better. To me, all the shit you talked about the Knicks is why my hate will live forever.
If the Knicks traded for him, you would be right in KD.
Man, he talks about everybody, man.
Hold on, time out. I don't like when people say that though. I don't think anyone's hate for anyone ever supersedes success, right? That's like, man, I hate Donald Trump. You wouldn't hate him if he brought you $6 million. Well, duh, yeah, of course not. Like, so if Durant came to my team and we won a championship, I wouldn't hate him the same.
You also wouldn't hate him if he went to the Sacramento Kings and willed them a championship. You'd be like, that's admirable.
That is admirable. He ain't doing it.
He's not, but you would be like, that is admirable.
I'm telling you right now, Didge, outside of him coming to the Knicks and winning a championship here, there's nothing that man could do that would lessen my disdain for him. There's just nothing. It's nothing.
It's just gotten worse since he left Oklahoma City. It's hard.
And you know what was crazy? I was part of that party. Joel knows this. I was part of that party. Like, Durant is the best player on the planet. There's no argument. He's the best player on the planet. And everyone's like, no, it's LeBron. And then this motherfucker went to Golden State, and I was just like, why, man? Like, why? Why did you didn't have to. You were up 3-1. All right, so Joel, what's your top three?
That's fucking tough, but Giannis.
Do it and make it all big men, Joel. Show the league that the big men matter. Make it all big men, Joel.
Giannis
Come on.
and beating Jokic. Let's go.
Wow.
And there would probably not be a lot of argument.
Wait, you don't want to throw in there 30-point per game Rudy Gobert? You don't want to throw him with that?
30 points at 1 point.
So who's your top three?
Shit. Giannis for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Curry.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm gonna stick with LeBron for now. Yeah.
You know what's so powerful about Giannis is that we just watched Steph Curry win a championship, and I believe it's not even a conversation that Giannis is the best player on the planet.
Yeah.
Like, how weird is that, right? Like, how weird is that?
How does that feel, Didge? Tell me.
I like it. You know, I'm glad you guys are all, you know, respecting Giannis. You know,
Because it exists in football. We see it in football, right? Brady was going to retire, and that would have been the narrative all year. Fuck who won. Fuck who just won. Fuck who will win. Brady. That's the conversation, right? We're now seeing it in basketball that LeBron is starting to become a secondary conversation, right? And they're now trying to expand LeBron into his sons now becoming a conversation. It's like, y'all just will not let the balls go, huh? Y'all just, you just got to fondle them every chance you get. Let them go. Like, we have other people we can embrace, but we can't if you forever hold on to them, right? Which, by the way, Skip Bayless, I know we're a small sports show and don't matter, but I am never a fan of calling out people's kids. You don't criticize people's kids. You just don't. You don't do that.
Oh, so
I don't have kids.
Something? I didn't see it.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah, I don't have kids, but I do have siblings, and I know I don't play that. I don't. If you're not related to me, you have no say, right? No say whatsoever. You can say he played a bad game, right? He could have been more efficient, because that's just breaking down the game. But when you make it personal, you don't ever bring kids into that. You just don't.
No, it's crazy though. And you were absolutely right about us starting to think of him like when people started thinking of him as secondary. Mm-hmm. And man, 37 years old, just averaged 30 points a game.
Yeah.
This season, and he's secondary. That's just crazy.
He's unfair. Crazy. He's unfair. He's unprecedented. It's why everyone that believes Jordan is the greatest player by a mile, I don't think that's something you can hold on to when LeBron retires. Because regardless of him not winning 6 rings, right? It being undefeated and never needing a game 7 and all those fucking Paul Bundy stories of Michael Jordan's excellence back in the day, right? I do think you have to look. You do have to look at the legacy of LeBron and go, we did look at Jordan and go, this will never happen again. And LeBron did it, but in a different way, right? It wasn't because I think when people go, well, Jordan owned the 90s, and I'm like, I'm sorry, are we going to ignore LeBron just making the Eastern Conference his bitch for more than a decade to where it was confirmed he's in the finals, right? It wasn't ever like, well, is this the year Boston does it? I mean, no, he'll be there.
Like, pretty shitty.
No, it was, but I'm saying it started to progressively get better.
Now.
As he left. No.
Yeah.
As he left.
That's what I'm saying. Now that he's gone.
But there were also points in that run of the East where the East wasn't shitty. Like the Hawks won 50-something games. And LeBron came in there and just shitted on them.
I'm just saying, there wasn't a lot of teams under the Hawks that were great. It was like
there were the Hawks that had those runs.
Toronto had good moments, but then he just steamrolled them.
Boston, the Nets. There were teams sporadically, but there. Yes, if you're saying there weren't teams every single year,
it wasn't as strong as the West. That's all it was.
No, never at any point. But again, we're gonna put that on LeBron's shoulders. Like, why didn't you make the rest of your conference better? What? Like,
no, I'm not. You're just saying, but it's true that the Eastern Conference just wasn't good when he was there. It just wasn't. Fair. A lot of the stars went west, maybe because they were afraid. I have no idea.
Could be. It could be. I'm just saying. Durant did go east. once LeBron settled west.
He did.
So I'm just saying, coincidence? I think not. All right, I want to go to our last story because it's not even a story. I just want to address it because it built up a lot of conversation that essentially was unnecessary. So Shams, that we all believe, is one of those gurus in breaking news when it comes to that.
100%.
Right? That guy, yeah, 100%. And sometimes to me, it's a toss-up between him and Woj, right? Like either one of them.
Whoever's first that night,
whoever's
you're
first.
the winner.
Right. But he did come out today, obviously with a headline. I won't say a story, a headline that the Knicks and the Jazz have reopened negotiations.
Yeah.
Now, with you running with that as a headline, Knicks fans were like, "Well, shit, we're almost at the finish line." And then the Knicks beat writers came out and was just like, "No, did you read it?" And we were all like, "Of course we didn't read."
Well, had a paywall. How am I supposed to read it?
Like who reads in 2022?
This is just the equivalent of them picking up the phone again. Like, hey, what's up?
Yes. Hey, how you guys doing? Weather good over there? Yeah, we're pretty good. How you guys doing?
Summer doing good. All right, cool.
Summer doing good. All right.
Clickbait.
Yeah, that was it. And then they hung up, and that was it, right? And Shams made it seem like the Knicks were like, okay, we're willing to do what you need. Let's make this trade happen. That's not what happened.
I definitely thought it was trade imminent when I saw the headline. I was like, oh,
I thought the very next moment it would be followed by trade happened, and I'm like, thank God, perfect day to do it. Beautiful, love it, right? Of course, that's not what happened. Okay, so Joel,
Hurdles.
did you look at this more so as like, I only care when they say it's done, or did you look at this more so like, oh, more news is possibly on the horizon?
No. I saw it when it came out, and I'm like, okay, good. They're talking again, but I was not excited because nowhere did it say it was imminent. Nowhere did it, because you'll know those they worded specifically like it's close.
Right.
You know, this did not say that they're talking again. I'm like, oh, good. They took a month off from each other, and they're talking again.
They came back.
What was the big quote? There's hurdles still. No shit. That was the problem before.
There's been hurdles.
Yeah, come back to me when it's closer than that. You know, I'm glad that they're talking again. That's good news. But like, it's basically the same news. You know, maybe I would like to know who talked to who first.
Yeah, that is very important. That is very, very,
because
very
you're like, well, look, you know where we stand.
Because if Utah called, that means, hey, you're budging. you thought you had leverage, but you're budging now, right? Like now you see shit ain't sweet out there, right?
Right. Yeah. How's it been?
Right. Look shitty out there, right? You don't get draft picks, huh? Okay, all right. Bring your ass here. Let's make this trade happen.
Let's talk. Come
on. Prime, how did you look at this?
Didn't move me. I just saw it. I saw, well, it just hit me when something happens. Like, you know, because all the hype that we had when everything was first announced initially, like I couldn't go on Twitter. Like every daggone spaces in Twitter, Knicks, Mitchell signed yet. Yeah, that was like the heading, you know. And I'm in it. I was in it like every day. I'm looking for the best one. Oh, this room got 130 people in it. Listen to this. Oh, this one got 75. Dude, for days. And then, you know, things that didn't happen, and you know, the talks on Knicks Twitter started turning out the things. But nah, I'm just like, hit me when something happens. You know, The only thing I really saw was on one of the reports, might have been the New York Post. One of them, they were talking about that supposedly Charlotte and the Wizards were showing interest as well.
Good.
I started to read through that. But nah, I didn't feel one way or the other. I was just like, it's not saying that something happened.
Mm-hmm.
So I just kept it moving.
No, they're just no.
Yeah.
We're numb. I'm numb right now. That's why I don't.
The only thing, my only question would be for me to really have any feeling it is, you know, if it's really, really true, who initiated the talks again?
Right.
You know, and that would make me read a little more into it. You know, that we call them, you know, hey, we'll be playing basketball here in, you know, about a month and a half, you know, or whatever. Or did they call us to do it? So that were, you know, my only real interest. But I haven't seen anything about that yet.
Or did they pass a note in the hallway? You know?
Right. Drop it on the ground. I will say I'm very reactionary. I told Didge before we went on air, I immediately pre-ordered 2K. Right when this shot. Yeah, I want it now. Like,
You know
I want to
what?
get ready for it.
This trade definitely tells me when I'm going to buy that game again. Because I didn't even buy last year. I skipped last year.
I don't
And
think I bought it either.
It's been a while.
I didn't buy it. I ended up getting it. They ended up making it on game or on the PlayStation Plus thing, so I got it that way.
Oh, word. That's what's up. I might do that. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Depending on because my urge to play, I'm like, fuck, I got to do it before we start playing. Because if we lose, I won't play. And that's how I feel about it most of the time. That's why I usually do all my playing during the summer. But because this summer has been such a fucking hold because of the Durant and really, I'm gonna blame the Timberwolves and their fucking crazy trade. You know, they're assholes. That's the reason everything's in the hold is because of that shit.
I've never seen desperation that big. It's where it's just like anything. Rudy's available, send it all. We need him. It's like at that price. All right. Okay.
I told you guys when it happened. I was like, they broke the trade market.
They did, and like I think if I can say Durant gets traded remarkably for some whatever package that could reset the market, but that's another hurdle.
That's why I'm like, at this point, if you're the Knicks, right? If you're the Knicks, at some point soon, you may have to be the one that bends just to get it done. Because the likelihood of Durant actually still being on this Nets roster by the time the season starts feels like it diminishes by the moment.
You know what's crappy though? I don't know if you guys thought about this because I think the last time we were talking about this when I was on, and I was talking about how we had the Knicks got to be on Christmas. Let's just make my Christmas. So we found out we're playing the daggone Philadelphia, and then all of a sudden the last couple of days, all this Durant and Harden, and they Cooper again, and all this stuff. I'm like, come on, bro.
Conspiracy bullshit.
See that. Me, Joel, and Prime did want to say to all you haters out there, the Knicks are back at Christmas, so suck it. Like, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, why you
like,
I was one of the ones that questioned it. It was a quick question.
I don't really understand why. I don't understand why the Knicks playing there.
You know, I caught it in my group too. As soon as I put it up there, the schedule, all these people come down like one of these teams is not like the others. You know, when they was talking about that.
But you know what's funny about that, Prime? You know what's funny about that? We watch religiously the fucking Lions play during Thanksgiving, and everyone's just like, "Oh, that's ritual. That just happens, right? Who cares?"
Well,
the Knicks get in, and they're like, "Oh, in the world, no."
Well, to be fair, the reason why the Lions play on Thanksgiving is because originally no team wanted to play on Thanksgiving, and they said, "Well, yeah, we will." Mm-hmm. So it's now that every team wants to get that chance to play. The NFL is like, "Well, when nobody wanted us, you wanted us on this day,
right?" So, and I'm saying
on Christmas there is none of that.
And I will say, Didge, since 1993, the day I've been born, more games than not have been the Detroit Lions being one of the most shittiest franchises in the league. Almost every year they've played on Thanksgiving, and people don't care. I don't even mean the organization. I mean the fan base. People don't watch the Lions playing and go, no, this needs to be off my screen.
It's 3 games on Thanksgiving, but only one team plays on Thanksgiving. So that's how you know.
Tradition, man. You can't.
You always know the NFC East has a stronghold on fucking Thanksgiving. One of them motherfuckers is playing.
Hey, the NFL don't care about your feelings, man. They care about ratings.
Yeah, that's it. So,
like the star, hate the star, they're gonna be on.
That's it. And I actually, and last thing, and we're getting out of here, I saw someone complaining, how dare they put the Knicks in over the Hawks? And I'm like, the Hawks got, we stomped on Christmas? Those guys? Like, Obi Toppin was doing off the backboard alley-oops to himself and shit. Like, we shitted on them. Like,
we have a good season, but that game was good.
That game was a highlight. It was. And I know everyone's going to go, well, Trae Young didn't play in that game. You're absolutely right. Trae Young did play in the very next game we played them. And we whooped their ass also. So I'm like, it's one of those things where it's like, bro, get over it. Knicks are going to play for Christmas. That's it. And if they get Donovan Mitchell, guess what, fans out there? They will play Christmas every year for the entirety of Donovan Mitchell's run.
I don't know the next time they won't be on Christmas, honestly.
They took a small break in the world.
They did.
And
When Kevin Durant went to Brooklyn, there was
they were just like, well, there's no way we can have the wrong New York team here. And it's like, well, now that Durant might go, you got to even the playing field, right? You got to come back home, come back to the Knicks. It's
tradition,
okay.
baby. Come on,
come here.
Last time we played Philly and Christmas, the Canner was on the team.
Yep.
That was,
and look, Ditch, don't ever question the Knicks being there because you now have a cornerstone franchise player. So you will always be on Christmas, okay? So you should not be looking down going, how dare you on my day?
It wasn't even that. I didn't question it to that extent. I was just like, oh, the Knicks made it, huh? That was it.
Yeah, we don't need it. We don't need a player to be on Christmas. We the Knicks. That's why we play it on Christmas.
Yes,
that's cool. If those are the things, I'll take my Bucks seasons.
I'm sure you would.
Tradition now.
We do need 1 year. 1 year we do need the Knicks versus the Bucks.
I thought they did that 1 year.
Maybe a few years ago, but come on, that shit was probably lopsided. We need even playing field. That's what we need.
I do. I thought I remember it.
That's what we need. Yeah, that's what we need. They probably did. But it's probably lopsided. I mean, the Knicks don't usually have many
2018.
Christmas wins. Yeah.
Was it?
And what was the score?
109-95.
Yeah.
We won
that bad.
Giannis put up 30.
Sounds about right. Who was our best player? Who was that?
2018?
2018. Your leading scorer was Knox.
All right, yeah. So,
Kevin
guys,
Knox.
I want to thank Prime and I want to thank Didge and I want to thank Joel for joining me on this amazing episode of GVN Sports.
Oh, that's the game. Giannis jumped over Tim Hardaway Jr.
I cut it off for a reason. I didn't need you to bring it up.
I forgot about that.
I didn't need you to bring it up. And by the way, if we're talking about it, I want to throw out the fact that Giannis is the reason Kristaps got injured. Just want to throw that shit out there, too.
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I know that for a fact, all right? You don't got to block everything.
Kristaps wasn't even on your team in this game.
No, I'm saying when he got injured, the year that Kristaps was balling out. That quote-unquote block by Giannis. Yeah, fucked us up for a few years, Ditch. Yeah.
You know Kristaps don't lift. You can't be going that hard.
Yeah, man. Come on now, man. Ain't no muscles in that man's body and you going that damn hard. Come on. Let him get a layup. Damn. We won't go win the game.
Fuck, man. Just jealous he ain't 7'3". Only 7 foot, bitch.
Goodness gracious. Y'all trying to have a stronghold on otherworldly players. Like, goddamn. Like, why can't he have some shine?
Other unicorns in the world.
Yeah. Fucking Giannis.
Unicorn envy. That's what it is.
Right? That's all it was. And no, time out, Joel. It shifted after that, right? Everyone looked at Giannis as the unicorn, as the ultimate unicorn. Yeah, you stole our shit. You jocked our style, Didge. Yeah. Anyway, I want to thank Prime for joining us on this episode of GVN Sports. Obviously, always thanking my co-hosts in Didge and Joel. Guys, make sure you stay tuned. We're thinking about maybe live streaming our NFL draft. All right, so stay tuned for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Prime, I'll talk to you about maybe joining when we go off air. But stay tuned for that. That's going to be a lot of fun, especially if we don't do a large group, which I don't really want to do. I want to do a somewhat small group, so it maximizes all the really good players I can get. Because last time we did it, there was like 12 of us, and that shit got really bare. Quick.
Picking at the bottom of the barrel. Like, God.
Yeah, at certain points, I was just like, are these even real names? Like, do you really play on a team, or who am I drafting right now?
We were playing.
Yeah, I'm like, I didn't like any of that. So I want to go relatively small. Yeah, I want to go relatively small. But again, guys, thank you so much. Stay tuned tomorrow. We'll either be doing a rumor mill pod, talking about a bunch of MCU rumors, or we'll be doing a Sandman podcast tomorrow. So stay tuned for either one of those tomorrow night. And of course, stay tuned Thursday. Not only will you be getting MCR for us to break down the first episode of She-Hulk, you will also be getting the last scare. And Jayla will be back. And Jayla has already discussed her dislike for my last time on the last scare. So I'm terrified. I'm scared already.
Hopefully you didn't get me banned.
You need to rein him in.
Maybe Didge. There's a very strong possibility.
Yeah, right.
Jayla might go, wait, who invited Didge? Jawan? No, they both go. But
Why
make
you
sure
get
you guys stay
producers? You
tuned
know,
for that.
yo, cut it. What the fuck?
Yeah,
you
but
talking about?
That's what Jayla said. Yeah, I need to come back to stop this shit. That was chaos.
Yeah.
And it was. It's fair.
It was.
But
It
again-
was very much chaos.
Again, Prime. Tell everybody where they can find you.
You can find me over on Facebook, The Sports Bar Podcast, SVP. That is me. And my boy Source. We kick it over there. Sports is our thing, but hip hop, television, and movies are always in play. Thank you for bringing me on.
Let's go.
Go get Mitchell. Bring back Mello. I'm out.
Let's go.
Yes. Yes.
Oh.
Yes, universe. Do you hear that? Do you hear those sweet words? Yes. Yes. All right. Didge, as Young Deuces told us yesterday, did you want to talk about your upcoming podcast?
I do not have a Homeboys from Outer Space podcast coming
Are
out,
you sure?
contrary to what my brother is saying.
Well, did you want to hype up your P Valley podcast?
I also do not have a P Valley podcast. I also don't have that. Only thing I do have coming out is we do still have the Black Geek documentary coming.
Absolutely. And I'll make sure we get that in our description along with yours, Prime. Thank you guys so much. And please do stay tuned for Didge's P Valley podcast.
Oh my
Until
God.
next time,
Please
guys.
stop.
Peace.